And howdy, folks. Welcome to Courts of Everest, our original 5e D&D campaign. I am Joe Truff, your DM this evening and most, and joining me are my friends. Oh, it's going to be so hard now. I didn't even think about this. Matt, Hannah, Vincent, Kara, Tina, and Alana. We did it. I had to prep myself. Thank you. Proud of you. Yeah, we have a whole different array of faces right now. And so, yeah. That's what's happening. We're going to play D&D in just a second, but
Never
before
seen
we
you
do...
before in my life.
Yeah. Now nothing works. We don't know each other.
On this side of the table.
It's very weird because I've owned them. This is my own...
This is the same every time.
That does not happen very often.
Yeah, see, that's why I like this side is because there's a lot of, especially on Thursdays, I look over and Kara and I are just like, yep.
So, we will play D&D in just a second, but before we do, we are, last night we played Mosaic Team 5, our Starfinder campaign. It was a incredibly long battle, and it had a lot of role-playing, and it was really great. You can see that when it re-airs on Sunday at noon, followed by this session at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On YouTube, we are at Alberon RPG. That's also what we are on Instagram, where you can see close-ups and things like that of whatever we have on our table. Right now, it's just an empty box, but there are all kinds of things that tend to pop up there. And then in July, we are going to be having 2 one-shots. The first is in the very last week of July, and then actually the second is in the first week of August. One of them is Starfinder themed, one of them is D&D themed. They're both in canon to our campaigns. Those are going to feature guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. More announcements about that are going to come out next week. And then, excuse me, finally, for this music that you can hear behind me, along with many of the other sound effects that we are not making this evening, things like this cheering crowd, things like these, well,
that was like a sad cheer.
Yeah, you know what, they're sad. Like, you guys,
Comfortable.
You guys technically won the fight, but not really. You know? That was kind of what that was for. But for all those sound effects, Sirenscape,
Ori and his girlfriend.
digital tool set that you could use for all those kind of sound effects. And with that, I'm going to get us into our recap. Goodbye, sweet love. We've got a weird energy with this configuration at the table.
The rest of the campaign is reuniting Ori with his girlfriend.
Yeah. Scratch everything.
We all become the big bad.
Wait a second.
Keeping them apart.
Don't need that anymore. Okay. No, I mean, not for tonight. That's just for my initiative and little notes that I take during the session. I have plenty of things.
Commit to the bit.
You have to commit to the bit. Wandering Hearts. Last that we played, Ori was lured by the woman in black to the back of the mansion. Ori, everybody tried to ruin your chance at having a sweet goth girlfriend, but you persevered. For the most part, persevered to escape your group. In your view, trying to stop you, but in everybody else's, trying to help you. This devolved into chaos.
That one before.
With everybody running throughout the mansion. Minka, you got lost, but luckily you were helped back by a guard. And then, as all of this stuff transpired, Billy was able to grab onto you and introduce you to the host. You introduced yourself and immediately came into some difficulty, which resulted in a large battle that raged throughout. We saw you go down at different points. At the beginning of our last session, Alina, you were really the only person left in the hall with Minka down. As you raced forwards, as luck would have it, there was at least one more individual attending this party. Valis. Valis or Varys? Valis, okay. Valis, the Eladrin paladin who, for some reason, had been in the basement, now swinging out and wielding a still-sheathed sword, aided you in battle, heading back towards the ballroom, and eventually you were able to bring Minka back with help from Cheshire, who returned from there. I'm just pointing at you. Cheshire's not there anymore. With help from Cheshire.
Classic Cheshire.
Classic. Yeah. Wow, LARPing today. With help from
spirit.
Yeah. With help from Cheshire, who finally returning from being on the second floor was able to cast Healing Word, in turn bringing you back, bringing you into chalice form, and flooding your party with healing. With a little bit of help, you were able to turn the tide, defeat the bards, Unfortunately, Ori, you were alone and in the basement. And as these skeletons poured forth and Loon Sunder led them back towards you, you attempted to hide by dousing yourself with wine.
Well, they sense smell.
To make yourself the only smelly thing in this otherwise
Besides the
dust-strewn
wine.
basement.
I love the weird theme of Ori just dunking himself in alcohol.
Ori, you are very quickly downed. However, with a very luckily cast, Divine Sight from Valis. Oh, man. From Valis, the group was informed that there were undead beneath. And Alina and the rest of the group eventually raced to your rescue. Things did not go great, but Valis, with your statement to Linsunder that you may have been able to cure him had you been allowed to finish your research, that seemed to shake him a little bit. He turned and left, after telling all of you that he was but one of the fracturing, and that he would return and bring others. As he escaped, you were able to bring Ori back from the brink. Alina, you were brought back from being truly dead, but only for 12 seconds. A record for the group. Excuse me. And sorry. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. That's what's going on. Sorry. That makes sense. With a few newfound trinkets after investigating the house, thank you very much, you now make your way out through the kitchen, where you find yourselves exiting into the lower phase greenbelt, where there is a bit of chaos unfolding along the walkway that slowly twists up and away, and that is where we begin this evening. Give me 1 second. All right. You okay there?
Yeah. Eerily quiet all of a sudden.
You're looking for Paisley?
She's right behind you.
Where it really counts.
I have a new best
In each other's
friendship
hearts.
ended with Petal. Resit Malar is my new best friend.
Out here in this exterior, the natural light is almost non-existent, but only really trickling down through the many walkways, trusses, and other obstructions above. There are these little magical lavender pyramid lanterns that have been strung about, mounted to walls, and even placed within sculptures to provide a beautiful, low, enchanting light. You can see here and there are these very pale butterflies, and they almost glow as if there is a black light lighting them from above, although nothing of that nature, just their almost natural bioluminescence. As you step out, and there is still just chaos happening behind you, Feywind Arya turns and just says, "All right, y'all suspicious as fuck. I got my eye on you." And she points specifically to, oh no, Billy's not there. Specifically to Alina, and then stalks off.
She has a point.
See you later.
Looking around, there is
Help, I guess.
no sign of a cart, no sign of Urtrod, who, Minka, you had expressly told to leave at the first sign of fire, which, turning behind and little bits of smoke rising up from the ballroom, there certainly is.
If we start running now, do you think the guards will find us?
The guards are... I mean, it's Alina looks around. Does she see any indication that there are guards?
No, although this is kind of like the back area, and so you had seen Feywind getting people out through the front. You would imagine if there are guards, that's probably where they're coming in from. There are people though, and so now looking out and looking around, you can see these walkways. There's a few that like twist up, and so up this like central column, you can't see all the way across. There's an interior kind of bit, but these wind up and around like ribs or like strands of hair that just twist around and around, and all along them there are these like magically grown bits of grass and other plants. And there are people who are like standing there, and you can see a few who are like looking and talking and pointing, and so certainly there's a commotion, but no guards yet.
We should run. And Alina's gonna be like, okay, but where do we go? Wincing Manticore? Where do we think?
Okay.
Where do I think that Bertrand and Billy went? Or sorry, can I think about where Erdrod and Billy might have gone?
Well, you would remember that Minka had expressly told them to meet at the Wincing Manticore, and so probably there.
Okay. Let's go. And Alina's gonna just pronk away as fast as her little pronkers can take her.
You clop to catch back up to your Cheshire. Is anybody else doing anything other than following?
We could be sneaky. I'm gonna cast Pass Without a Trace.
Okay. You cast Pass Without a Trace, and it's almost like for a moment you glow brighter, and that brightness as it pulls the light in and has that like dark edge around it, and then suddenly the shadows settle in, and everybody just becomes a little bit more muted, seems to take in that lavender glow a little bit more and blend in just a little bit better. And here and there, as you walk up, if you walk through the first like 10 to 20 feet away from here, now people are walking by, and you can hear people who are saying, "Oh, I smell smoke. Is that a fire?" And like all these different voices as people are now beginning to like gather. This would be the part where people are now like taking out their phones if this was like our world. But you guys like walk through that, and as you begin to walk, you are hidden enough that every now and then one of you will probably like clip into people who are just walking by, kind of hurrying to go and see what's happening. But there is really no threat, and after like maybe 20 minutes and going up this kind of twisting, crooked path that had these little marble benches every 50 feet or so that provide places for people to rest, eventually you would get to a point where it evens back out and there is an exit that goes to the facet of welcome. And so you can make your way to the Warm and Welcome Way and then back to the Wincing Manticore. No problem.
So, on our way,
Yeah.
I'm still very injured.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'd be straggling behind a bit. And I'm also still wondering about all of the stuff that I saw, particularly in the diplomat suite and the stuff in the basement with Diatray.
Okay.
What the fuck is he doing? Why does he have stuff from not only the tower, but from a specific family?
Yeah.
What is going on? Why did he have this like weird necromantic summoning going on? Secret passageway in the basement. He has the disease, but wants to keep it seemingly. And
You get the sense that these are a lot of things that may or may not be related, and so you probably need to narrow the scope of your focus to make a roll
Right,
or
but I
get some
think,
kind of information.
yeah. So I'm
Well, it's a
focusing.
pretty good.
I would kind of
encompassing
like to know the
everything we
plot.
learned, though.
Right. Well, I mean, all of this is swimming in Ori's head, and he's also like kind of probably concussed at this point.
Yeah.
And also probably like severely dehydrated and lacking blood. So
Ruminating on his near-death experience.
thinking about all of this, but really wondering more specifically about like what would the tower's involvement be with Diatray? Why would there be that sort of connection at all? Specifically with the Sharkbite family.
Make a history or insight check, your choice. If it's insight, it's at disadvantage.
Okay. I wrote down that I had already rolled an insight,
That's why it's a disadvantage.
and I got... Oh, but I didn't get the result of that.
Oh, okay.
Which is
What was your roll?
23.
23?
Because I just
He added it in his
recapped
back
this note.
pocket.
Yeah. Just recap this note here of what...
I vaguely remember that. No, that's fair. So, in terms of thinking about like the Starkbite family, they are Duergar, which is in and of itself relatively uncommon, especially talking about places that are above ground. More recently, in like the last 5 years or so, more of them in Dominion have moved into Kol Taram, and so that in turn has led to more dwarves coming over to Everest, and so that is probably why that would be known. For the Starkbites, they are allied with the Tower of Frozen Seafoam. And there is an individual who really probably the second most powerful person in the magiocracy of the Rising Storm. The person who is known as Resinbeard, a treant sorcerer.
So
This-
they have ties with him?
Seems that would make sense, and seeing as how Loonsunder is somebody who's been involved pretty heavily in magic and things like that, perhaps trading and that kind of stuff, which is not in and of itself illegal in Everest,
Okay.
but expensive.
So I'm just thinking about all of these things in my dying state
Okay.
as we make our way back.
You have the same number of hit points, and I'm like,
But I got them from after being dead.
Mine are store bought. Yours are homemade.
Wasn't she more dead than you were dead?
I was way more than
most
that.
I've been dead way more than you.
So you make your way back to the Winston Manticore. Oh yeah.
On the way
I've
back.
been dead the whole time.
Wait, do I have the book and you have my shield right now? Okay. On the way back, just want to say to the group. So y'all seem to know each other. How do y'all know each other?
Same boss.
Well, you see what had happened was.
Don't listen to her at all. She's gonna tell you something bullshit.
No, I want to hear this.
We just work for the same guy.
Summary
Yeah,
of the whole experience
I
so
see.
far. However, emphasizing Minka, the malicious, and Ori, the oblivious, as they are the current characters in this wonderful epic that I am creating.
Valis, this is like in an anime. You immediately know who the protagonists are because like red and blue hair, everybody else kind of like muted. You see like a satyr, so probably like Alina. You see like a blue person, probably Minka, and then like evil Ori. Yeah, it's like definitely some people a little bit more fleshed out than others in this telling. But throughout all of this, you do learn this group recruited by an individual known as Hirsum, who is the wise fool, the arbiter of something called the Treaty of Four Seasons, which in and of itself is a legal document that was signed right around the raising of the Dome of Alandar in order to keep whatever it was that created the Onyx Spire incident from happening again. And so when there is a dispute that might cause an issue between the kingdoms, instead of going to war, Hirsum appoints this council. Typically known as the Justicars of the Treaty of Four Seasons, this group has elected to go by the Wandering Hearts. They
Also,
are...
have I heard of the Wandering Hearts?
Probably not.
Roll a D100.
We're pretty niche.
Sorry, we're at that stage where we're not cool, but we're kind of cool.
Yeah, hipsters love us.
Okay. A 14.
A 14. You really haven't? No. The Wandering Hearts, I mean, it's this group, I guess. They, if they are the kind of Justicars of the Treaty of Four Seasons, that's a pretty big deal. And so to be appointed to that, though there isn't really like a clear-cut reason that you might be appointed, typically those are like pretty heroic groups, eventually.
Oh.
But like
I'm very impressed
100%
that you-
glossing over the whole like adventure we've been on, like highlighting more just the characters in it and less
Yeah.
what we've been doing because Ginger kind of doesn't know.
And so, like,
Honestly, given the nature of some of the garbage we've been through, I like Alina is satisfied with that.
every single enemy is goblins, but just with different costumes on. And so like there's goblins but they're dressed like frogs, and there's goblins but they're dressed like people, and like
There's goblins, but they're dressed like Minka.
yeah,
3 goblins in a trench coat.
yeah. Eventually it's just goblins doing different things, and it's like completely off the track of whatever the story is.
There's just
Goblins
this
dressed like
evil
tapestry.
blue figure that pops up and like smites people randomly.
Yeah,
And then disappears.
a lot of stuff going on, but that's roughly what you got about the group.
I'm really honored to meet such a group of such prestige to work for such a renowned employer. Could I ask?
And oh my
Cough
god.
a little bit of blood out.
And Hirsum is not just any employer. He sits at the right hand of Cernunos.
Do I know who
Yeah,
Cernunos is?
I would say you
Okay.
probably know who Cernunos is. Cernunos
If
is
he
a
has-
pretty
oh,
very
prominent
good.
figure.
If he has even a moment of hesitation, I'm gonna launch into my elevator pitch. Well, just while we're walking.
You hear, oh, Sir Nunos, and then you hear all around you 4 or 5 and just like immediately, just launches into this like talk about Sir Nunos, who is this powerful hunter and protector of the Feywild and all this stuff about the revelry of the Thorn. And then luckily you make it to the Warm and Welcome Way.
And as we're approaching the Warm and Welcome Way, I'm buttoning up by being like, and if you serve Sir Nunos loyally, you may get to even experience the Wild Hunt, which I experienced tonight.
And if you're a very good little
Sounds
boy,
like fun.
then bring me gifts next summertide.
So quickly, Billy, you are brought back to the Wincing Manticore. You come to right as the horses kind of stop. And the door is like thrown open, and as you like squint open, everything's still bleary. There's like some scorch marks. You smell kind of burnt. The door opens up, and you can see Urtrod, the satyr with red hair, who just looks very concerned. He's sweating a little bit, but he opens it up and he goes, "Oh, good, you're still alive."
Where's everyone else?
I don't. Maybe on fire. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry.
There was a fire, and the blue one said that I should leave if there's a fire, so I did.
And you said they're on fire.
Well, maybe just a little bit.
That doesn't make it better. Billy like coughs up some blood and like looks a little.
Oh, let's get you inside. And he goes and like, Crispy can help.
My man.
So, is there anything that you're doing prior to the group arriving?
Billy's just like, where's everyone?
Okay. You spend a little bit of time trying to just like figure out where people are. Crispy will get you a beer, which is the most help that he can give, but that's still pretty good help, and it's a good beer.
Do I have like 1 hit point, or am I? How work?
So if you want, you can take a short rest, and you could use some hit dice, no problem.
Thank you.
The group eventually arrives with a little bit of a history lesson being given. You could hear, like, even from probably about 5 minutes away, like your ears perk up because you hear a very familiar voice in a high pitch register as it hits Sir Nunos, and then like it goes down, and like you kind of lose the volume for a bit.
Well, at least Elena's alive.
Yeah. And then you can enter the warm and welcome way. Sorry, the Wincing Manticore. Inside is Billy drinking a beer, still not looking great. Urtrod and Crispy.
I'm sidling up to the bar and just Crispy.
Crispy is a little gnome, and as he just like hops down from the chair, he walks over, and you hear this like scrape as he pulls the stool over to your part of the bar, and he climbs back up and just what's wrong with you, Ori?
Not doing so good. Just give me something strong.
All right, and he just kind of like hops back down, and he heads off towards the basement.
Just gotta sleep it off.
So, please.
When Alina sees Billy, she's going to, like a little too hard, go give her a big bear hug.
Unconscious.
And then turn to Valis and be like, "This is my friend I was telling you about. This is Billy. Do you have any more of that magic healing hands?"
A little bit.
Oh, don't worry. I got it. Okay, now that everyone's here, so that's all of us. Okay. She's gonna use her last level 3 slot to cast, Aura Vitality.
Nice.
So we're just gonna go around the table, and I'm just gonna start rolling.
And what does this look like?
So Minka's just gonna kind of sit in the middle of everyone, and kind of close her eyes and hold on to her staff, and like a soothing pulse kind of comes out of her, and as it kind of washes over you, you simultaneously feel like a cool wind, as if you're standing outside looking at the sky. And I'm just do some rolling because it's gonna be so it's 1 minute. So that's 10 rolls.
So in this moment, yeah, go for it, and try to keep track of it, because in this moment, for you, Ori, for each of you, it is a little bit different. For you, Ori, you feel for just a moment like you're back in the Magiocracy on one of the very rare nights that you were able to escape from home and just be outside on these rolling hills with these beautiful flower petals falling down, and looking up at the sky, where even though the astral eclipse sort of blocks out the stars, there is this kind of twinkling that happens at night. And there is this kind of reassuring calm as this healing washes over you. For you, Alina, this exact same sensation immediately brings you back to like the revelry. This is like right when the music has died down and people are catching their breaths, and like the next song is about to start, and like this is the comforting silence that occurs right before like another explosion of partying, and then like this healing washes over you. Excuse me. Valis, your backstory is pretty light. But for you,
You're reading books.
interestingly, for you, there is this kind of same healing and the same calm sensation, but whatever it is that's tugging at your memory, you can't access. It's almost as if whatever it was taken away.
Like it was awesome.
Oh no!
How
I hate
many
that.
days have you been sitting on that one for?
I just
Too many.
came off the cuff.
Too many.
Billy, it's a less comforting feeling for you. You still feel healing, but the smell in the air is that of something burning. Cheshire, it's just some wind.
And he looks unchanged
Yep.
at the end of it.
Still rolling over. So keep going. Keep
It's a lot of rolling.
I have a lot of modifiers that go into healing. It turns out, you just gotta give me one.
You need like a. There's a word for it, not an abacus. It's like an automatic coin sorter, and you like press some buttons and it like falls down. Like, oh, 5.
While Minka's like doing her healing spell, now that Alina is back with Billy, she's gonna be like, Billy, it was so crazy. I felt the hunt. Remember, it was so good. I did die, like all the way, but I think Minka brought me back. Anyway, we met this cool guy. He had some good information. Probably best that you weren't there, actually. It was not good. Oh, and I made a new friend. Is Malara with me right now?
Is who?
The little imp?
You have to pull him out if you want him.
Who looks the?
Do I
guess
need to summon him, or because
Yeah.
I would? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll introduce you to him later.
Okay, so Ori,
In
19.
like an hour, maybe.
Okay.
Alina, 22.
Dang, that's a lot of healing.
Billy, 16.
Do you roll for health, or do you? I'm so sorry. How many? Did you say 22?
22.
22. I'm gonna take this 13. 13. Okay, and after that, who looks the most hurt? So how we
I
doing?
would hit his fiddle.
You're good.
Ori.
Treasure's good. Probably Ori.
Yeah.
Okay.
27
Yeah, I'm at 27 now too.
out of 34.
Okay. So
what I
actually,
said, I'm
that's easy
fiddly.
because it's two
Not over
separate
here
rolls
that I
technically.
wouldn't
So
want to
that will be
Math.
7 to Ori and 6 to Billy.
Hey, I am fit as a fiddle.
So,
I am mildly better.
as this healing wind just waves away, and you can feel it almost kind of flutters out through the windows and the open door, you all feel much better. Most of you.
I feel much better.
Crispy returns, and he brings this like faceted green bottle that looks almost like sea glass, and he just opens it up, and he has a whole bunch of different glasses with him that are slightly mismatched but all relatively clean, and sets them out in front of all of you and just puts the bottle on the table, and he says, "It looks like you could all use a drink. You're not going to like that." Oh, and then as you take this drink, it is very tropical, like passion fruit, like super vibrant, and he goes, "It's not. There's more to do.
For me.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
There's no alcohol in it yet."
Whoa.
Let him do his job.
Why would anybody
Thank you,
drink
Ori.
this?
Yeah, and he hops back down. He heads back downstairs. He comes back up the stairs a second later, and he goes, "Oh, by the way, Harrison will be here very soon." Well, hard to say, really, but probably about 10 minutes.
That's not enough minutes.
Pour.
Well, okay,
Billy
hold
just
on.
like kind of leans over towards Cheshire and is like,
It's downstairs.
we didn't do well, did we?
I'm gonna pull out one of the ships that I got.
Little wooden ship, finely detailed, very finely detailed.
Oh, Shasha, that just reminded me. Minka's gonna reach into like her pockets and pull out another book and this book is it's apparently a book of horror stories that you took from the library and forgot to put back because things kind of went to shit. I'm just gonna hand it over to you.
Oh yeah, that's the one about Mythos, Alandor, the Wise Fool, and the Fall of the Unexpired.
No,
No.
that's
I picked
that
up
was
a
just
horror
yours.
story.
Oh, okay. Right. I thought that was the book that you were talking about.
If your employer is coming by, could I perchance seek an audience with him? Could you?
Just hang out. He'll be here in like 10 minutes.
I'm sure he'd be happy to meet you.
I don't think
Especially given how
happy
helpful you
is
were.
a strong word for what he will be.
It's really funny, Valis, considering this is like a really renowned figure. These people are like not super thrilled that he's showing up.
Look, if he's super rude to you, apparently that's like on purpose.
He's kind of an asshole.
Don't take it personally.
Okay, so
He has a very important job.
Billy, what you missed was we went downstairs and there were a lot of undead things like skeletons, and Diatray himself was questionably alive. Definitely as Wake Peter
He was
flew.
alive. He was definitely alive.
Okay, Wake Peter flew, seemingly on purpose,
As
and
far as I
he
could
definitely
tell.
got away. So we definitely didn't do the thing we were supposed to do.
Okay.
In our defense, the fence is shut down. And that was one of our options.
Is that what we were going to do?
Yeah, and maybe keep it from Pearson that you did not know that.
Crispy returns at this point with his bottle of like very smoky looking alcohol, so much so that when he opens it up and it's like this little bit of wax and he cuts it away, the smoke out and over it. You take that out.
It's not
It's
enough.
the passion fruit.
Billy grabs
He's
it
just gonna
away.
shrug and like take Billy's beer. And stuff.
Okay, yeah, you just
Is there a name for this drink?
the beer is just passed around.
Name for this drink, dear bartender?
Yes, there is. Give me 1 second here.
I haven't had this one yet.
Do you think we're gonna get
Reamed out,
reprimanded?
probably.
No, we got what we went in there for.
Yeah, he's gonna murder us.
He got away.
I think as long as we make sure to give him all the information we found out. I mean, we learned a lot from our new friend over here, and again, like I made a new friend too. It's not a big deal, but I know where we can get even more information once the building is not on fire anymore. So
We have information. We got the good thing. Valis has it. Well, we don't really have it, but Valis has it.
oh, the book?
Yes.
The book that you still haven't explained to us why it's important.
It's important.
Okay, well, there you go then.
At this, Crispy like is watching back and forth. And he's like, and like in a brief moment, he just goes, "Agavite," and he just like he just gets the drink name out to you.
Can I just have like the fruit part and not the alcohol part?
Yeah, knock yourself out.
Okay.
This drink is delicious, bartender.
Oh, thank you. And really, the alcohol itself is like a smoky mezcal, and combined with this like passion fruit and what is like a slightly more acidic fruit, it really evens out and becomes this like very, very dark. It's not fruity at all. Like the sweetness really just takes away from it being almost too bitter. So it's quite a good drink.
So I'll take my drink and my book and just start flipping through it and reading it.
Yeah, sure. Make an investigation, or actually, if you're just taking some time to read the book, cool, no worries. We'll get back to that.
So we did our usual thing of like mildly succeeding, but Urchrod mentioned a fire and that you guys might be on fire.
Oh, I was definitely on
us
fire
were.
at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see Urtrod, who like is just shuffling back in from the basement. And he's pulling out a whole bunch of this chicken that you guys have had before. He like puts it down. And he just goes, "Oh well, I wasn't wrong then."
So, like, the thing is that it turned out that Diatray was super powerful, and I'm pretty sure he was a warlock because he kept stealing my moves, and he summoned undead monsters, and we definitely wouldn't have, we would have died if Valis hadn't stepped in. So, I mean, yeah, we kind of failed, but we could have failed even more.
He looked so sad and weak. He was really that big of a deal?
Something about him is off. he's got
Well, yeah, he's sick, right?
right, but
Yeah.
But he wasn't acting sick. He was acting super powerful.
And you just happen to be like, hey, I'm here. I can help defeat the host of this awesome party.
Oh, you're calling me?
Conveniently.
Oh, yes, I was at the party investigating Moon Sunder. Thank you all again, by the way, for helping to create a distraction so I can look through the house a little bit.
Was a distraction.
You're welcome, I guess.
I
Oh, and
think you
Faymond
mentioned
was
Moon
there.
Sunder being weak. That's the weight Peter flew.
right. But adding up with
Also,
that.
Faymond was there. She was super helpful.
She punched a skeleton.
Yeah.
You would have loved it.
I would have loved it. That sounds
She got
great.
mad at me.
She got real mad at Ori, though.
This would be of interest
I don't
to your
even
employer,
know what
but
she was mad at
while
me
we were
for,
fighting Moon
so
Sunder, I tried to cast a spell on him, and it seemed as though it seemed to me like the symptoms of the weight Peter flu flared, because I saw him illuminate, and I saw a scar, and it seemed like my magic had less effect because of it.
Convenient.
I'm kind of hoping that here's some.
It was convenient for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You can see Crispy gets visibly like a little. He looks, when you say that scar, he gets a little bit like, not stormy looking, a little bit more jittery. I think that's a good way of putting it. And actually, Billy, go ahead and make a history check.
What's 'cause I feel like I've gotten to know Crispy pretty well. What's riling him up here?
Well, you've known Crispy again for about a week and a half, but
when you drink with someone as often as we have, you know them pretty well.
like at most it could be 10 days, 10,
Right.
10 total days. And you
That's
were not
like
there
a
all 10 days.
lifetime in drinking buddy years.
As we all know, I built Billy around intelligence, which means I add a 1 to my history rolls. It's an 18.
Okay, hey, that's not
I
bad.
know I rolled well.
Billy, there is an element of this scar, of being able to see this when magic is cast, and it reminds you of something that is not too dissimilar from something that you're pretty familiar with. Something that can't be hidden, something that is just visible even through clothes in certain situations, that really can't be trimmed or removed.
Do you have a unibrow?
Clearly.
He has a unibrow. It grants magic resistance in Oberon.
Yeah, Billy shaves it every morning. It's
It grows back.
really
Billy's
is
like,
hitting her right
I don't
here.
need magic resistance.
Anytime that the Plexus spell, it just grows back in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Are you?
So you know that.
Think so.
Minka would like to make a nature check on Onyx.
Okay.
So
14.
it just. So you say you're an expert on this flu thing,
Oh, I used to be an expert.
and you're not anymore?
Smart kicked out of you?
At this point, the lights that are coming from the door kind of get a little darker, and suddenly filling the space, there is a immensely handsome satyr wearing just normal traveling clothes, but still, it is very much like he has like the light absorbed into the elements of fur on his like arms and on his face. This is Hearson. This is the Prince of Fools. He is just kind of peering in, and immediately his eyes go to you, and he says, "Oh man!" And remind me, is Birchbillow?
Yes.
So he says, "Valis Birchbillow, esteemed scholar, or once. So good to see you.
Likewise, Yersum.
And you've met the Wandering Hearts, I see.
Yes, they helped me.
Wonderful. And did you help them complete their task?"
I believe I helped with one of their tasks. I'm a little bit fuzzy about what their tasks were. They didn't share, but I think one of them was to bring down the defenses.
He turns and looks at all of you.
Okay, so
Technically, we did bring down the defenses. It was just probably not in the way that you were hoping. Dietrich did escape as well.
And the physical
Just gonna
fences.
peel that band-aid off right now.
So Alina is gonna kind of tell the story of what happened, and she's gonna tell it truthfully, but also in the most flattering light possible. She's gonna focus on the information that they learned and the fact that Dietrich was way more powerful than they anticipated, and it was like a grueling battle, but we managed to survive. And at the tail end, Alina's gonna say, and I know where we can get even more information about his activities.
Make a persuasion
So
test.
basically the inverse of how Cheshire would have told me.
Yeah.
Yes. I believe that's a dirty 20. Persuasion.
Yes, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay.
Sorry.
You tell the story, and here's some for his part. Lets you tell the whole thing. You talk about this, and what details are you telling? Are you leaving anything out?
So I think I'm hitting like all the salient points. So like I'm gonna leave out the I'm gonna leave out the whole like strawberry thing, but I will mention that I will mention that Ori was charmed by a powerful magic user and that kind of threw a monkey wrench in things.
Quite right.
And I'm gonna say that we,
Enamored is
did
probably
some-
a better word for that.
did some reconnaissance for a bit, and then Dietrich realized that we were intruders, and so it started this battle, and we had to fight for our lives. And
I got stabbed.
and then I'm gonna talk about how Valis entering in really helped us because he was able to figure out where Dietrich was, and the battle in the basement, and he did get away, but again, it was he almost flattened us, and so we would definitely be dead if he hadn't chosen to leave. And so those are kind of like the salient points. that
And I was there too.
You mentioned something about trying to bring back the Dark One.
That instantly you can see his attention snaps over to you. At first, he looked a little annoyed. He looked like a little bit frustrated. Slowly, as Alina was like talking, he seemed to be coming to terms with this. Yes, frustrating battle. Yes, okay, bard guards, like all this different stuff. People were downed and dying and all this different stuff. And he seems like he's starting to kind of soften. And then you say the Dark One. And that snaps his attention back. And he says, who?
So Dietrich was saying he's but one of the fracturing. And when I'm saying this too, I'm trying to gauge what Hearsome is not telling us about the situation, because he's in the book that, and just based on the name of it, I kind of have an idea of
Make an insight check.
something. But yeah, so I'd be like, well, he said he's but one of the fracturing, and the Dark One will return, and he will be back with more. And insight,
Yeah.
22.
You get the...
Ear for deceit too, so if he's lying.
Okay. So first, he kind of looks at you, and as you say all this, you can see he is rapt attention, and you've never seen this out of him before. Generally speaking, he's either like doing other things and talking to you out of the side of his attention, or things like that. But
Feigning interest.
you have his full attention. And as you conclude that, he says, well, that is bad news. And that means that all of you have more work to do.
Right. Could have guessed that based on the fact that it was someone named the Dark One. But, why is it especially bad news?
The Dark One.
Yes.
The reason that the Onyx Spire fell.
Yes. So, what was...
Ori, how many spires are on Everest?
There's 4, right?
Everest is the continent. And there is the Emerald Spire and the Onyx Spire.
Right. Wasn't there the
That's
other
2.
couple?
There's 2 on Everest.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
on Everest.
There are others. There's the Ruby Spire is over in. I mean, actually, no. Ori doesn't know. Ori doesn't know. Probably not.
Based on my history lessons,
The Spire phase really doesn't have a lot to interest that kind of stuff, especially not Spire phase and the
it'll
Alt.
just be mostly the Onyx Spire stuff. Probably.
Yeah. And so you know of 2 in Everest, but really the Emerald Spire is the only one that is active, and that's in
The
Alberon.
Dome of Valinor is keeping the contained evil within. Yeah. So I understand why the Dark One would be bad,
Yes.
but why is Diatre involved in that?
That I don't understand. He said that they brought this on themselves.
Did I say that?
If you
If I
recap
may
the story,
elaborate.
then
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
as I believe those words were directed to me when Thunder.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was dead.
Yeah, Ori was dead
I
too.
was fading. Yeah, I was fading.
So Vincent doesn't exactly remember what he said, but I feel like Valis
Yeah,
would. I think it was the Spire brought this upon itself. I am but one of the fracturing. ...
I am but one of the fracturing. I will return and I'll bring others.
And did he also mention the Dark One as well?
He said that the spire would fall and the dark one must rise.
So I would like to say all of that.
I also, kind of just point of interest.
Yeah.
I recall that when we were looking through the book, at some point, Hannah knows that the Dark One is Nithix. I'm pretty sure Alina learned that. Am I
Yeah,
remembering?
yeah.
Okay, so
You had a quick browse through the
a little
book.
browse, yeah.
14 browse.
I interrupted and now I don't remember what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
And this
Did I learn anything from just reading the 10 minutes before Harrison got here?
Make an investigation check, and this is kind of you like table of contents, looking at the interesting stuff before you really read it.
So
Investigation. 3.
3?
The drink was really good.
Yeah.
And it was loud in here.
Yeah.
Are you suspecting that they are trying to perhaps bring down the Emerald Spire as well as they did the Onyx?
Perhaps. And if so, this is incredibly dangerous. Diatre must be stopped. And this fracturing must be found. What is it? Is it a spell? Is it an item?
Oh, didn't he say he was one of them?
hoping that you would have more insight on that.
Well, actually, so I met Diatre's familiar and found a large box made of lead. I think.
Yeah.
And it was locked, and we had to leave because of how on fire the house was. But Diatre's familiar told me how to get into the box, and he told me that inside the box is all the information about what he's up to with the fracturing, which he mentioned. So if we can just go back into the house.
Well, why didn't we get it when we were there?
Well, the house was on fire, and in order to... So Diatre's familiar told me that he needs those 4 keys, which were in the basement. We were in the master bedroom on the second floor.
Paisley wanted.
What?
What?
What? Anyway, so there is a way to get more information. We just need to get back into the house. And the fence is disabled, we're pretty sure, so.
How long was I out?
It's like an hour.
This is like 2 minutes.
So,
Actually, point of detail.
Yeah.
I think if I recall, you said that this was a ward spell that he kept refreshing. So was the ward down, or was the ward still up, but it just wasn't going to?
It was going down, and so it was like the 24-hour timer currently ticking down, and so it's going to fail in probably about 20 hours now.
Okay, so just important detail there before you go in there.
Okay.
The ward will be down.
And, we could probably, even, I mean, so if we go in tomorrow, we can have a lot of information to work with.
You should probably send someone now so that no one tampers with it.
Yeah, well, maybe I could, the box is huge. It's like bigger than a person.
I will speak to the administrator and have the house locked down, and we can return tomorrow to investigate, if that's what you think is right.
Well, I mean,
Definitely be a good start.
You know anyone named Paisley?
Several.
This pretty beautiful woman. What's that part?
let it be known that I left that part out of the story for a reason.
Or doesn't care.
I know.
This doesn't ring any bells to me.
Who's Paisley?
She's no one important.
Ori's girlfriend. Alina's gonna lean over and whisper everything she knows about Paisley and Ori, just like a juicy piece of gossip.
Listen, I cannot impress upon you all enough how dangerous the situation is. Beyond the Dark One, there are many evils held within the Onyx Spire. Should the dome break, and it should be impossible, the Winter Court has kept it intact for many years. But should it break, that is untold chaos that would be unleashed upon Everest.
What's in there?
It's the Dark One. It's Mythics. The Dome of Valendor keeps it contained. The Archmage is overseeing that whole
Demons,
thing.
devils, hags, things that you can't even imagine.
It's bad times. Right, so can we take
Does Billy know where the Onyx Spire is located?
Yeah, I would say almost everybody knows where it's located. Nobody better than Minka, actually. Weirdly enough, just because Minka grew up closest to it. But the Onyx Spire is in the valley where whispers die. It is in this place that is very hard to reach. It's kind of nestled into the Sentinel Wood. It is within the lone territory of the Winter Court, which is the Divine Court in Everest. And yeah,
Kara knows that it's north.
yes.
Does Billy know that it's north?
Yeah.
Here's some. I'd like to offer my help with the Wandering Hearts, but I would like to ask but a small favor from yourself. I'm not sure if you're aware that I believe that I've been framed for my banishment from the Awesome Lock.
I had heard that you had stolen a great amount of research on the Wake Peter flu.
Yes, I was framed for that. Every research that I did was my own, and I have reason to believe I was at Moonsunders' party last night because I had a lead that he had to do with it. I was not able to find more. Just anything that you can help to prove my innocence, and I don't even know if it's even possible to gain back the memories I've lost.
For what it's worth, I believe you. Getting your memories back might be a difficult matter, but I could point you in the right direction.
Actually, the memories are not... I don't care about the memories. I want to continue the research of eradicating the Wake Peter flu. And I believe that if I was framed for it, it might have been under malicious pretenses.
Perhaps.
Is there any benefit that you know of for someone having Wake Peter flu and utilizing it to their advantage?
If you are to believe the whisperings, there are many things that people say. It might grant you special powers. It might grant you life beyond this one. But there are those that say that the Rangers of the Prismatic Conclave use this very disease to grant them the powers that they have.
Well, because it seemed like when I was killed by Diatre, he very much had the disease, but from everything that you've said, he doesn't seem to very much care that he has it, and in fact seems to want to keep having it, and also spread it, perhaps. So, if there is a way of gaining power through it, he might be trying that. Just spitballing here, I'm still pretty shaken up to be quite honest, and could use another beverage, Crispy.
He goes and he just kind of says, he looks around. Is anybody still missing hit points?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. He looks around and kind of sees that there's still like bruises and bumps on all of you. And he says, well, this won't do. And he just waves his hand. And up to 5 of you can mark off or add 20 hit points back. He just waves his hand, and healing just floods across the room. It brushes across, and you can see it goes across like crispy, and he just goes, oh, that tickles. But Hearsome straightens up, kind of like brushing a little bit of dust off his cloak, and he says, but that is a good thing to keep in mind. If there is an advantage to this Wakepeter flu, that is something we should ascertain.
Oh, Hearsome, before you go, do you know anything about, like, dreams that are not real dreams?
What kind of dreams that aren't real dreams?
I had a really vivid set of dreams, and I'm just a little bit worried because one of them involved, like, the sky tearing open, and with everything else that's been going on, that just seems like a bad day.
That is ominous. There are people who believe that dreams have the power of foresight. I don't count myself as one of those. But perhaps there is some inner workings that are trying to express themselves. Maybe something else is in need of opening up, or perhaps... And like he kind of just goes off and really like almost like a little bit of psychotherapy.
As he goes up, Minka starts like to realize that he's not like answering
Definitely.
it. Yeah, I'm like, okay, all right, okay.
Thank you.
But if I were you, and I wanted to know more about dreams, well, I suppose the Magiocracy of the Rising Storm has the people who would be the most adept at answering that.
All right.
Ori.
Well, not Ori.
He is the most magical among us, didn't you hear?
Right.
There are many kinds of magic, I suppose.
The fire trick's cool.
So, if we are going to investigate tomorrow, I'll take my leave now. Is there anything that you need further?
I'll pull up an aquavite and I'll take partake here some.
Not from this plane. Respectfully.
Well, actually, so I feel like Alina has learned her lesson because this is like the 3rd time that Hearsome has offered to give more information.
Yeah.
She's finally brave enough. And so Alina goes, actually, is there anything you're not telling us that would be helpful for us to know in this situation? I mean, so like Cheshire found this book about the Dome of Valandar, and like, and you were there in the title of the book.
What book?
Nithix,
It's
Alandor, the
important.
Wise Fool, and the Fall of the Onyx Spire.
She's gonna take it out of
I'll hand you the book.
and just hand it over and be like, so like I haven't read the book yet, but I just kind of
The book
feel
just
like
disappears into his robes.
what?
No,
Hey.
Make a persuasion check.
It's mine.
Can Cheshire pickpocket?
13.
13. This
Here for deceit.
is propaganda. Hard to tell. Make an insight check.
I want it back. I want it back.
Ooh, 27.
There is elements of untruth to this for sure. One thing that's it's really hard to tell, but as he says propaganda, you imagine that Hearsome is the kind of person that probably laces truth into lies, and so it's really hard to tell. But you do get the sense that there is stuff about this that he does not want to talk about. He's not necessarily lying, but he is certainly leaving things out.
He probably doesn't like a book calling him the Wise Fool, right?
That's probably it.
We also got a wheel.
I want it back.
Wheel.
Oh, here's some better spelling.
With
Okay,
a wheel, it certainly seems as if he is not telling the truth. There is an element of this book that he does not want you to see, and it is likely because it does not paint him in the best light.
So since Alina is mad at herself that she let him take the book, like, God, what an idiot. So she's hoping
Nithix was an individual who gave the world many false promises. He had many followers who, much like him, deceived, led people astray, broke many lives. Anything that Nithix or those who follow him say is not to be trusted. I know this better than most.
If I may, Yirsum, may I read the book? Because although I will not. I understand who wrote it, but it may give me hints. As I was perusing through it, there were something there that I think I need a little bit more time, and I think perhaps it relates to the way Peter flew. And I can give it to you to dispose of at your will, but just requesting a day to read it.
I think that you don't know who wrote this book. They are not to be trusted either, but for different reasons. Vitus Adder has a flair for historical inaccuracy. I will tell you, if you do need a bit more help with your research, help this group find out what the fracturing is, and I will escort you into the awesome lock myself.
Very well. You have my shield. Well, technically, you have my shield now, but metaphorically.
You can see he kind of looks a little confused, but then just decides not to pursue that any further.
That's not.
All right. Well, I'm starting to feel a bit parched again. So, Crispy, could you do me a favor?
Do you want me to pour you a drink so you don't have to do it yourself?
Oh no, I can pour it. I just thought we were out. Is there some here?
Yeah. It's just right there. For a whole bottle.
Right in front of your face.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy has drunk a significant amount of it.
Or he's been slugging them. Yeah. Slugging them.
But at this, here's some, like, kind of pushes off the wall that he's been leaning against, and he says, "Is there anything else?"
The book doesn't belong to me. I was just showing it to you.
Oh, then even more reason
Make a persuasion
not
check.
to give it back.
You gotta try to steal it? Okay. Make a sleight of hand check.
Oh god. Is this how Cheshire dies?
He's literally like handing it, and he's like, "Wait, where did it go?"
25.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no.
Or he loves that you're getting some comeuppance.
14.
Oh no.
Suddenly, Cheshire disappears, and there is a poof of glitter, and all of a sudden, as like the glitter falls down, Hearsome looks down and says, "Well, we have a rat," and on the ground there is a bright pink rat.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Minga's gonna scoop Cheshire up and just be like,
I
"Oh no,
love this
no!"
so much.
And
This
just
is
kind
the
of like
best
put her
thing
on the
that has
bar
happened to
and be
me
like, "Can we
in-
get her something?"
Should we get her a boot?
Come on,
Bite Ori's
She's pretty helpful sometimes.
I didn't do anything.
she has saved our butts multiple times.
What just happened?
gonna bite Ori if he's close enough.
Even though Mink is like holding this little pink mouse, this it's just snapping. But it's like a very pretty pink. This is like a pastel
Can I
rat.
take one of the glasses
I'm
and just like
picturing that the
No.
rat is like the color of that seltzer can.
Yeah, essentially.
Do I believe him that he didn't do anything?
Make an insight check.
11.
Hard to tell. But he turns and he says, "Well, that will wear off after a day."
Before or after the morning when we meet you at the mansion?
Well, I suppose right around 10 o'clock at night.
Does she like still understand this, or is she like?
She looks
Rat.
very rat behaving, such as you would imagine, probably the intelligence score of a rat.
Where's all her stuff?
It seems to have been polymorphed into her.
Okay.
Minka's just gonna like
Somehow that comes through.
Minka's
Loud
still
and clear.
like just like kind of pet Cheshire.
Okay.
Like
You snuggling.
You know what we should do with her?
Wait, that's not a punishment anymore. And he just goes, and all of a sudden, in your hands, and Cheshire just hugs you, and he just says,
Levitated
"My
her and
pockets
tied it to a
are for
string.
me."
If you say so.
He turns and he walks out.
As soon as he walks out, I'm gonna like, is he really gone? Once he's really gone,
Okay.
he was lying to us.
No shit.
Well,
Ori the Oblivious.
I wish he kept you as a rat.
It was pretty funny.
Okay, what? Explain.
Well, whatever's in that book, he does not want us to know about. Presumably because whoever wrote it, this Vetus Atta, probably not on the best terms with him and may have written him in a poor light that he does not quite appreciate.
Didn't you?
Something else about it that's kind of odd is this Nithix. Seems like he may have had a bit more personal connection that he didn't quite want to share.
You said you were a respected researcher with the Lock.
Formerly, right?
I mean,
Formerly.
Correct.
is this guy alive? This Vetus Adar?
Author.
Oh.
Make a
the
history
author.
check if you want. Yeah, it's the author.
I thought you were talking about the drink. I'm just like,
Is
this
the drink?
agua?
Is the drink?
Agua Vita?
The drink has a very similar name.
Is the drink alive?
17 history.
Okay, with a 17, yeah, Vetus Adder, one of the most well-known writers, somebody who has like traveled across almost all the continents in Everest and has written about their adventures kind of as they go. And so, pretty well known. Their books are one-offs, and so they're
One-off.
yeah.
One
So
of
they
a
like
kind.
they travel. They write their books almost as like a journal, and then they leave it with whoever it will benefit the most and go off on the next adventure. Vetus Adder is probably getting close to 300, and so for like a halfling, he's getting up there in years. But yeah, pretty well known.
I mentioned
Alina-
all that.
Alina looks at Cheshire and goes, "I'm sorry about your book.
sorry.
Because
It's
I
not
didn't
her
mean for
book.
that
It
to
was her
happen.
book to begin with. She probably stole it.
It kind of feels like if
I'm
he
the
was
bad
lying about the
guy.
contents of the book, it would have been better if I hadn't given to him.
Well, yeah. but
Okay,
you
so I'm
shouldn't
just
have given it to
acknowledging.
him.
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Yeah, thanks, Crispy.
Right.
I
Anyway,
wish I had more
I'm
time to
sorry.
read that book. I think I was starting to get to the good bits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
well,
Speaking of which,
Treasure swarms upstairs.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun.
may I have my shield?
No.
Slam.
so the funny thing about her is that she's awful and she takes everything from you and she's not going to give it back.
Minka, you're trying to say something.
He had this food.
well, okay. You know how I mentioned that dream, right? That I had? One of the places was the Onyx Spire. So there's definitely something going on there.
Was the Onyx Spire in the same dream as the skies opening up?
Oh no, that's a completely separate dream. I saw Ori's face and decided I should kind of go, you know.
Wait, you saw my face?
You had a really expressive face. Did you?
You were making faces at her. I was laughing, remember? It
Not
was
in
like
the
60
dream,
seconds
in real
ago.
life.
Oh, yeah, in that one. Yeah, because given the aforementioned hearsome lying to us, I wasn't quite sure that telling him all about the dream that you told me about would be the wisest course of action.
Okay, so
Is the shield shop
Right.
still open?
The shield
Is the
store.
shield
One
store
shield,
still
please.
open?
Like 9:30.
your finest shield that is free, please.
No, so actually,
John P. Shieldington.
I can give you mine for now. I can't use it right now.
can you roll Vincent a D100?
Ooh. Ooh. Lucky number, 88.
88. Okay. So, as luck would have it, and this is actually your special item roll because we only had you for a one shot. We didn't do this. You actually have commissioned and something that is pretty much ready for you or should be ready for you now, a shield that is at Tomgar's anvil that is on this very street.
Ah. I'll walk over there.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay, listen, guys. So, I mean, I hate to say it, but I think that maybe Hirsim doesn't have our best interests at heart.
He has his own best interest at
Really?
heart. He's an archfey. Yeah, that's what they do.
Okay, okay,
It's
okay.
taking you that long.
Okay,
Listen,
okay.
I
listen.
grew up very sheltered.
I mean, same. Same.
Okay, so listen, I have an idea. So remember how I told you that I made a new friend and it's Hirsim's and it's
Diatribe.
Diatre's familiar?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's my familiar now.
Oh,
His name's
Is that how that works?
how did Petal feel about that?
I haven't talked to her yet. But the
You're
point
really
is
not
that
very kind to Petal. You know that?
what is this shit on Alina Day? Calm down.
Really smart.
I died like an hour ago.
Get in line.
Okay, Ori.
Okay, listen.
You hear from
I made a
upstairs,
deal
the
with
door
him.
open.
Ori's an asshole.
Slam.
Okay, guys, we gotta figure this out. Okay.
I made a deal with him, okay?
Good.
So he's my familiar. He's gonna help us out, and then eventually I'll help him out. We made a deal. So
Kind of deal
Ori,
do you make with
I am on a roll here.
the familiar of the person that we are tracking down? who
One that
just
is
attempted
probably-
to kill
Let her
us.
finish the story, and then maybe we'll find out.
I'm just a bit skeptical. of
Drink
the
your
whole
drink.
thing.
So listen, he is an imp, not a fey creature, so he can get in and out of the house while the fence is still coming down. So maybe we can go back in tonight and get into that box that I mentioned, and then we'll have the upper hand.
Is it still on fire?
Hopefully put it out at this point.
I have a vague memory that imps are fireproof. If I'm remembering this correctly.
Sure.
I'm sure that we can, figure that out as we go.
Well, okay.
Well, I don't know.
This
Any
is
other
not a pickle.
ideas?
No. This is a pickle. We're in a pickle.
Yeah.
It's a real pickle. Yeah. Okay.
Well, have you tried looking for the cause of the Wakepeter flu?
We haven't gone that
Billy
far
like
yet.
looks over at
Oh, I left already.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like gone to pick up a shield.
Valis's spot.
That guy. That guy's probably a good person to talk to.
Well, we heard some dribs and drabs, right? Like we heard that there was a thing about the water running down the emerald.
This is gonna be like really out there.
In the when I watched back the episode, there was a mention of Nithix infusing onyx to give people power. Was that ever expressed, or was that just off of the nat 20 that Olive had? Would Minka know that?
I would say Minka wouldn't know that.
Okay, that's what I was getting. Okay,
Okay, so, what if... Okay, if Nithix is back, wherever, okay, and he's mad at the Spire, what better way than to get back at people of the Spire than to poison the Spire itself? Maybe that's the flu. Because they were saying it in theory, right? The rumors we heard, was it the rainwater coming off of it, right?
Prismatic Enclave is creating it. As
Off like the new, like it was that new
Ori,
offshoot
buddy,
off of the
sorry.
emerald, and
You're-
then
It's the
rain?
Prismatic Conclave.
to go visit
Yeah.
the Prismatic Conclave.
That's
How
Actually, yeah, a pretty good idea.
Crispy? How accessible is the Prismatic Conclave?
Pretty accessible. You can walk there, you can fly there, you can even swim there.
Oh,
Can you just go in?
Well, it depends, I suppose. You can certainly go into the main building or onto the campus itself.
okay.
But
okay.
Well, I haven't been, so I don't know.
valid.
Right, so we might need to sneak in.
So,
Do you know anything about the Prismatic Conclave? That's not really a place you can sneak in.
Do we know anything?
I don't think any of us do.
You all give him that
But
look.
Alina knew Linnea as a child, right? So
Yes.
does she know anything about it? Based
I
on
would
that?
say you heard, certainly back in Thornholm, Linnea was a horse who made it. And you had met Linnea as a child, and so eventually tales would make it back that Linnea really was a centaur, as it turns out. And this horse who would be a centaur had found success in the Emerald Spire, and if the tales could be believed, had risen to the rank of Lord Ranger within the Prismatic Conclave.
Okay, so look, I kind of know the Lord Ranger of the Prismatic Conclave, but I don't know if she'd remember me. It's been like years. But maybe
You're pretty
that
memorable.
might be helpful. Thanks, Billy.
okay. I don't think we're gonna get much done tonight. Cheshire's pissed, and she's our best sneaky person.
Hello.
Hello.
Cheshire's had more success so far
Well,
in
that's because
obtaining
Cheshire
illicit
doesn't
goods.
have Cheshire sabotaging Cheshire. all the time.
You know what? You have a good point.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could take a stroll, see how on fire it is. I'm pretty tapped. I don't know how much help I'll be. I'm not very good at sneaking. I'm kind of, vibrant.
Well, I'm actually feeling pretty good right now, given all of the helpful healing that you've done. So,
You want to go take a look?
would you like to go for a stroll together?
Let's go.
Wait, can I come? Because it's my gut. And I mean, Alina's gonna wave her staff and utilize the charge of the rod of the pack keeper and be like, "Yeah, I'm good to go."
Okay.
And listen, if we just wait an hour, I can summon the unfamiliar, and he's like tied to me now, so it's gonna be okay. And we won't be able to open the box without him.
Circling back on that for a second. Tied to you how?
He's my familiar now.
Did you make a deal with an imp?
Yeah.
What was the side of the deal that the imp wanted that put him in your service?
He just wants to go home.
Oh, is he
and-
lost?
Where does the imp come from?
Where do imps come from, Ori?
Usually not great places.
Yeah,
From
that's-
my experience.
It'll be fine.
Alright.
Does Minka know where imps
joke.
come from?
Make a history check. Or a religion check, I guess, if you want your choice.
Religion's gonna be much more useful in history.
Yeah, go for it.
And by much more useful, I mean the same 13.
Yeah. With a 13, probably not anywhere good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with our track record, it's actually probably pretty likely that we'll end up at their home.
Listen, I know you guys don't get it, okay? But, like, imps are super powerful familiars. It's gonna be awesome. Like, and she's like, just let me summon him, you'll
For
see.
you or for the imp?
Yes.
I'm going to take a walk. If anyone would care to join me, with the exception of Cheshire, you are welcome.
Are we waiting an hour, or?
I told you we can't unlock the box without the imp.
I was going to go for a stroll towards the Prismatic Conclave with the understanding that we'll deal with the other stuff in like an hour or a couple helpful.
Oh, okay. Well, cool then. I'm just gonna sit down and start drawing symbols on the ground.
No problem.
Billy's gonna kind of like try and edge away with the hope that Alina doesn't notice.
She does notice. I don't know. Sorry.
One more
Does she
drink
notice?
for the
I would say
road.
yeah, probably. Just because you're keeping such a close eye on Billy at this point.
Okay. I mean, I feel more comfortable with Billy being there, so I'm just like, for me, if we make eye contact, it's more of like a.
Okay, no problem. So Ori and Billy are going to the Prismatic Conclave. Is anybody else attending this field trip? Okay, no problem. Valis, what are you doing?
Heading to the place.
Shield shop, right? Okay, so
Are you going to Shield Shop?
Shields and Sons.
Valis, you make your way down to Tomgar's anvil. And Tomgar is a dwarf who, like, raven hair, kind of skinny for a dwarf, on the younger side, probably only about like 60, 70 years old. And when you arrive, he kind of like spots you through the window. And you can see he like brushes off his hands and he runs out and he just goes, "Oh, Vadis, I actually have your shield ready and it came out even better than I thought it would."
Amazing.
Yes. Just one thing. He runs back in and he pulls this out, and the shield itself is wrapped in like a pretty heavy cloth, and he just says, "Now, it's polished to a finish that is almost dangerous to look at, so just be mindful looking into it." And he
Got the
like
mirror shield.
gives this over to you.
Thank you.
Now you can get through the spirit temple. That is not section.
This is fine work, Tomgar.
It's inspired, I guess you could say, and this is a +1 shield.
Nice.
Inspired by a certain.
D100 roll. Yeah. Okay, so Ori, Billy, the two of you are going to make your way to the Prismatic Conclave.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Give me 1 second.
All casual, like.
Yeah.
We're casing the joint.
Casing the joint.
Is Ori capable of doing anything casually? I mean, like, I know you're laid back, but that's not the same thing as casual.
I agree with that. Okay. So the two of you walk. No problem.
You know, man, I feel like you don't get enough credit.
Are you seriously talking to me right now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you try hard, and it's true. Cheshire doesn't have Cheshire fucking things up, so. And this is a smart move.
Thank you. Did I do something to change your undying hatred of me? all
I
of a
hate
sudden?
everyone.
Right, but couldn't help but notice that there seems to be a little bit more focus directed at me most of the time. Not saying it's undeserved, I do apologize again, although I don't quite think that I'm responsible for as much as you may believe that I am, but I'm not splitting hairs or anything, just it's a little uncomfortable.
You
Getting
make
any
it
sort of compliments
so
from you at all?
easy.
Right. Why are you suddenly being nice to me?
You have a good idea. You should be recognized for it.
This is strange.
It's especially strange because now at like 10 o'clock at night, the hustle and bustle of the spire is still active, but it is a little quieter than you're used to it. And you can see there are elves and humans and satyrs and halflings and all kinds of people that are walking here and there, but it is not quite as loud as you're used to. And so, like, Billy's attention is very, very noticeable in this moment. But you travel for about 30 minutes. before you finally make your way a little bit further north, and you can see there are hundreds of feet of like sheer enchanted emerald that rise up, and there's a walkway of emerald that stretches out away from the spire proper, and it extends to a emerald hewn brick building that is excuse me one second, covered with orderly raised metallic flower beds that seem to be supported by emerald from the spire itself growing up. This is the Prismatic Conclave. And if you look at the very north part of this platform, you can see there is hundreds of feet of sheer enchanted emerald that rises up. This is like the main sort of structure in this place. Give me a second here. You can also see, if you like, as you get closer to this long walkway that stretches out between the spire proper and this platform, if you look down, it drops about 300 feet. And then down to the south, you can see the gemmed fields that are glimmering as they refract rays of pale Everest light. There's roads that stretch out in various states of maintenance. These are almost like spokes on a wheel that go out into different places in southern Everest. You've walked along one of them, actually, relatively recently, but most of these are unexplored to you, Ori. This platform extends and rises. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, I wrote really dense. This rectangular hall of emerald that you saw hewn from stone blocks of this kind of magic emerald has 3 prominent structures united by these corridors. And though most of it is overgrown with grasses and pothos and other ivies that cling and crawl, there are a couple of towers that poke out through the vegetation. Each of these structures goes vertically. The center one is nearly 50 feet tall, the 2 side wings only about 20 feet tall, to match the fence that kind of separates this platform from the walkway that approaches it. Most of the platform itself is just a meadow grass and wildflowers, though the edges around the wrought iron fence are nestled in heavy clover patches dotted with crimson flowers. And as you walk across this pathway, you can hear bees humming even before you get there. In the shadows of each of the wings of this primary structure, there is stone-lined ponds, 2 of them. Each of them are very deep, and you can see that even from this distance. And they're connected by a narrow channel, and over that channel is a bridge that leads into this main hallway itself. And at that foot of the bridge, there are 2 women, each of whom are wearing what look like garments made out of bark or wood or plants. It's kind of hard to tell at this distance, but one of them does wave to you as you approach.
Are we just continuing along?
We've been seen. So
Yeah.
Billy kind of like sweeps forward and says, "Rangers," and kind of gives like a little bow.
Okay.
Good evening.
You can see the person who waved to you, large eyes, brilliant green. She doesn't have hair. What you see in first thought was kind of like this greenish hair is almost like organic strands of these pothos leaves that run down along her shoulders and kind of cascade down in place of where hair might be. And they're actually like rubber tree leaves that kind of fall down. There are 3 crows, these dark birds with ruby-like plumage that is almost black, but just in the light has a lustrous red hue. And she's feeding these little bits of seeds and other assorted bits of grain. And she smiles and she says, "Oh, we are not rangers."
Oh, apologies. You fit in so well.
What are you looking for? Can we help you?
Oh, my friend here is a little shy, but we were hoping for a tour of the grounds. We had heard such wonderful things about the Prismatic Conclave.
Well, of course. You're free to wander the grounds. Please be respectful of the rangers, as they are mostly eating or sleeping at the moment.
And are they like blocking the way through the bridge? Or
No.
just- Okay. So, like, well, thank you. Good evening.
Okay, no problem. You say anything, Ori?
Nope, I just go.
Okay. You see the other person watches as you go. They're a little bit further away from the bridge itself. And they certainly seem to be keeping an eye on you, but they don't say anything.
When they're a little bit farther away, Billy like kind of whispers, "Well done."
All right. Well, I didn't have to do too much, so okay. But
You just
that's
had to
fine.
keep
Wicked.
quiet. You did that well.
Suddenly on your shoulder, Ori, lands a little cardinal. You can see like those back swept plumage. As it looks at you, its face is like kind of pointy and like angular, and so it looks almost angry, but just kind of turns and kind of fluffs its wings and settles down.
Oh, hello.
Billy like looks at the cardinal and kind of like squints at it.
Okay. Make a perception check.
She's seen Minka change before, and Cheshire was a rat
Make an
earlier.
Arcana check.
And I was a cow.
Ori was a cow, and Arcana is kind of good for me, but I rolled like shit, so that's gonna be an 8. This is just a weird ass bird.
With an 8, you look at this bird. It's a cardinal. It doesn't seem to be a Feywild cardinal or any kind of magical variety. It's just run-of-the-mill cardinal. Male, bright red.
More rich people bullshit.
Can I like take it off of my shoulder and like perch it on my finger or something instead?
Sure. You perch it on your finger. You feel the little claws like hold on a little tighter, and then the wings, and it kind of pulls you forward, and then kind of lands again.
I think it's
Kind of pulls you forward and then lands again.
trying to lead me somewhere. Seems. Shall we follow it? I'm gonna follow it.
Ori just goes with the bird this time. And are you following Ori?
Billy's following behind Ori. Very specifically behind Ori.
We don't know each other.
A little bit, yeah.
You make your way across the bridge and up to this main structure, and as you do, there's like shadows that fly over, and looking up you can see there are fey dragons, there are birds, there are all kinds of creatures here, both from the Feywild and those that kind of call Everest home. There are just tons of animals here, and as you've been here longer and longer, it's like the wildlife is just more and more evident. Many of them are sleeping. There is a panther that is up in one of the 2 rubber trees that flank the entrance to this building. There are all kinds of animals that just kind of like dot this area, but the bird is leading Ori very directly towards this door.
All right. Billy's gonna like take a quick peek at the water. Does the water seem normal?
Make a perception check.
As we're following this bird, is this door, does it seem like something that's kind of closed off or like off limits or anything?
As you follow this bird, the doors are open, and so definitely not.
Okay. So it's not taking us somewhere
15.
that's like
15.
we're gonna get in trouble right now.
These are deep, like 50 feet deep, each of these ponds, and they do run like in a very, very shallow channel, such that the water only gently goes back and forth. And you kind of realize they look different, and sniffing one is fresh and one is salty. And there's different kind of biodiversity within. And you would imagine if you looked under the bridge, there would be all kinds of like little brackish water creatures that call that place home. There is, and looking around now, thinking about that, there are like little habitats and biomes that are very naturally integrated into this place. As you follow the bird, Ori, you see somebody else, another person, who seems to be exiting the hall at the same time as you are entering. From within the central structure, there is a human who emerges, probably about 40, balding, black hair with just a dash of salt thrown in. The top of the head is definitely lacking for hair, but the eyebrows are quite bushy. They do frame serious eyes. It is not a unibrow, so you'd imagine susceptible to magic. They wear a split-tailed forest green vest with silk-soft leather embellishments over a crisp black shirt and pants. And they straighten up a little bit, and instantly, Ori, you've seen people like this where you're from. This is like a butler of some kind. And he straightens up and says, "Please make way. Lord Ranger Rockrun is here to meet with visitors." And because it is 8:41, this is where we're going to step away for a quick break. This is Linnea. So thank you for sticking with us. We'll be back and we'll revisit some characters from a one-shot a long time ago. It is 8:41. We'll be back at 8:51. We'll see you then. and welcome back. If you are just joining us, we are returning to the Prismatic Conclave after an 8-year absence. Just one moment.
Targeted ads.
What was that?
I'm getting a great targeted ad over here.
That's adorable.
Thanks, algorithm.
Not a sponsor?
I don't think that the algorithm can be a sponsor.
We are the sponsor of the algorithm.
Glory to the great algorithm.
The Google overlords know all.
Scary because it's kind of true.
Yeah.
Wait, this isn't Thursday night.
Sorry, I pushed the wrong music. Give me just 1 second.
This got real
It
dramatic.
feels appropriate for Linnea's grand entrance.
Oh, the Lord Ranger!
It was funny because we were doing horse impressions last night.
I gotta get caught up.
Predictive.
Just like before. Me and Dan and Emily were just making horse.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
When I was younger, I could do a really good horse neigh because I was very much a horse girl.
I can just do the.
My horse impression is very similar to my Richard Nixon impression. Because I have to go for both of them.
From behind this butler, who has just emerged from the structure and announced, "Please make way for Lord Ranger Rockrun, here to meet visitors." From behind him follows a small, cream-colored draft horse. She wears a crudely fashioned ball with a freshly, crudely drawn face smiling widely across. In place of hair, wild grasses come down over top, and from a body of canvas that falls down to the side of the horse's face like a veil, protrude 2 sticks for arms. Cinching the veil to Linnea's head is a simple band of silver iron with delicate patterns carved out of them to make negative spaces of beautiful imagery. This seems to be a magical item of some kind, but this is Linnea Rockrun, the Lord Ranger of the Prismatic Conclave. And she gives a little bow.
Is this a goddamn horse?
So looking at this, it is very much a horse that has a little makeshift humanoid that has just been kind of like pulled over its head like a puppet.
Has Billy heard anything about Lord Rockrun aside
Make a
from...
history check.
Okay. Just want to know how much Billy would have known.
This is really how. So you may have heard of Linnea from several people within Thornholm, and each of their account would vary drastically.
History?
Yes.
18.
18. So what you have heard is one of the more heroic accounts. This powerful centaur.
I've heard from Elena.
And so immediately you're like, this is not a centaur.
I'm gonna like look over at Billy and be like,
Billy's like a good 10 feet behind you and he's like,
I'm gonna like look back at Billy, look at the bird, be like,
The bird, for what it's worth, head down, eyes shut.
I'm gonna be like, oh, don't want to be rude.
So
Give my nice
Linnea
royal
approaches, the little like sack head bobbing at each step. And Linnea, in your mind, you can hear this like voice that just speaks out through the headband and into your brains. And she says, "Welcome to the Prismatic Conclave. I am Linnea Rockrun. How can I help you?"
Thank you for giving us audience, Linnea. We are here.
Billy steps forward. Lord Ranger, our deepest apologies for disturbing you and our humblest thanks for your audience. We just simply wanted a tour of the grounds. We heard so many things.
Okay. Her head inclines a little bit. There is something that she seems maybe untrusting into that particular statement, but kind of brushes it away. You hear this out loud, but in your mind you hear, "Of course."
I have heard much about you in particular from a dear friend belonging to the Revelry of the Thorn. Alina?
You hear just clop, clop. Like first when you say Revelry of the Thorn, like excitedly kind of kicks their hooves. And with Alina, there isn't like any change in that attitude, but they just say, "I was in Thornholm when I was young. It was a long time ago. I was different then.
I was there not long ago.
Yeah, this is like in all of your mind.
It's like on loudspeaker. It's
Yes,
not like
but in your brain.
it's not like, oh, you're talking to her now.
Yeah, and so you hear out loud, but in your brain you hear all this.
Okay.
It is an honor to make your acquaintance. And Billy like bows, and kind of looks over at Ori and is like,
Bow again. Like, oh.
Linnea says, "Such formalities aren't needed."
Oh, thank you. So, while it would be most graciously accepted a tour of the wonderful range here, there is also a matter that's more related to what do you do?
She looks and kind of like turns to you, and you hear this like hoarse whinny out loud, but in your mind you hear, "We are the Prismatic Conclave. We're rangers. We protect the Emerald Spire."
If I may be so bold, clearly I am not from here. The word that I have heard in my limited time in the Emerald Spire is that there's something about an illness, and some of the small folk that I've heard through seem to think that the Prismatic Conclave may be a cause for that.
This little cardinal flies away from you, and you can see Linnea's face gets a little bit more stormy. They clap back just once or twice, and they just say, "We've heard this, but this is not true."
well,
Ear for deceit. Well,
I was,
mind for...
Ear for deceit works for this. Make an insight check.
and while Ori's kind of like engaging her, Billy is gonna try and like figure out what's going on with the weird ornate headband on the horse.
Make a perception check. Are you being stealthy about this?
I mean, Billy's just looking at her. Billy's not like going up and like.
Yeah,
like...
yeah.
Billy's not Cheshire. Billy can't do that.
It's an 8.
Okay. We'll get back to that in a second.
Put you away.
Mine was an 18.
With an 18, this is a little bit of a disconcerting experience because you're being spoken to in your mind by a horse.
Yeah.
But with that aside, there is no real deception here. They seem to be telling the truth.
Cool. Yeah, because I got a good vibe from, it's a horse. I feel like I'm inherently more prone to believe the horse.
And we know how good Ori is to horses.
She turns and looks at you, Billy, and kind of sees that you are looking at this sort of situation. Linnea says,
I mean, no offense.
"Do you have questions?"
I'm so sorry for my impertinence. I was just admiring the finery.
My headband.
Yes.
Thank you.
I hope that you did not take offense to my question. It was just something that had been bothering me because, by all appearances, I would not have any reason to suspect that you or your conclave would do something that seems to so negatively harm a downtrodden community of the Emerald Spire.
For my entire life, with every community I have been a part of, I have been taught to protect. We would never harm the Spire. If there was some source of this, it would be in the waterways that run down when it rains. I'll show you them, but there is nothing there.
I would appreciate that. And once again, I do hope that I've not offended you.
I'm a centaur of strong spirit. You have not offended me. It would take more than that. And she clops back a couple times and then like takes a few steps forwards into the hall and then turns. She doesn't look back, but over like the shoulder, she thinks to you, "Are you following?"
No, we're following.
Clap, clap, clap through the halls. The halls here, you can tell these were at one point kind of structured for more humanoid sort of individuals, and over time they have certainly been modified to be a little bit more accommodating to animals. Here in like the benches that are wood and have like these cushions, there are holes in some of the cushions that at first make them look kind of worn out, but as you walk by, 3 little mice like stick their heads out of each little hole and kind of watch you as you walk by, and you can hear Linnea just says, "Good evening to you as well," and then just continues to move. You make your way further and then into the very back of this structure. Give me just one moment.
I'm looking forward to the conversation after this.
There is a series of stairs that drops about 8 steps down, not into a basement, but into a kind of sub-level. You could maybe identify this as almost like the foundation that connects the building to the actual emerald that anchors this entire terrace. And here you can see there are all manner of little holes and little elements of really pale light that go through that indicate that this is open to the air above in places. And it's damp here. And you can see there are all kinds of little rivulets that have been slowly worn into the emerald here. And they get into like a little stream that then eventually flow and then lead down. It gets kind of dark, and so it's hard to see further than just really like the first 10 or 20 feet. But there's just a trickle of water. It hasn't rained in the last day and a half, and so relatively slow flowing is this little space.
Billy reaches into the pouch at her side and pulls out one of the brightly colored vials and uncorks it and takes a swig.
Okay.
Like kind of empties it out and makes sure there's nothing left in there. And then just looks over at Lord Ranger Rockrun and says, "May I?"
You are welcome to look or collect whatever you need.
I would like to use my eye for detail to seek any hidden
Make an
clues.
investigation check.
And Billy reaches down and like towards where it's starting to like run off the side of the cliff.
Okay.
Billy's gonna try and collect some of that water.
Make an investigation check. You can add a vial of prismatic conclave water to your inventory.
17.
With a 17, you begin to look around. It's fairly dark in here, but you're able to see okay. The stones here have like been pulled down from elements above, and so across the emerald there are all kinds of little sediment and rock and dirt. There's old dried up grass that is kind of wown down here, and like you can see it's like kind of built up over a space where like a storm grate might hold a whole bunch of leaves. And actually, Billy, what'd you roll?
So, remember when I was rolling so poorly yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Still?
I got an 8.
Oh. You see Billy really investigating this one rock. Not quite sure about this rock as Billy, and so Billy is like
It's just
kind of
moss.
turning it over. But
I
thinking
might
better,
take it back for Minka.
you can add 1 piece of granite to your inventory. You walk past Billy, kind of like, okay, further down into this net of like leaves and dead grass. And you can see here the emerald wears down, and there are places where it's kind of cracked away as water runs away, and it's like slowly started to be organically regrown. And so here it's like almost like a geode, little like jagged bits and areas that it's been smoothed over. And with the 17, you can see rainwater falling down, and you see there are canvas sacks that have maybe washed in here along with the leaves and the grass and all that kind of stuff as well.
Was there more? Was that
That's what you see.
okay? Nothing in the canvas sacks. They're just kind of like it's just like detritus that's in the drain pipe, essentially.
Are you grabbing the sacks?
I think.
Oh man, why did I phrase it like that?
Just watching a lot out of the corner of my eye and dying.
Yes. I am grabbing the sacks.
Now, do you grab them gently or with force? Do you use both hands?
So Ori, you reach in and you lift these sacks from the river.
Are they wet?
They are wet, and the water that flows away from them does have a reddish hue. Ori, make a history check at advantage.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Poop.
buddy.
Big oof.
Poop. Skidoo. When it counts, it counts. That's a 7.
You see this reddish fluid wash into a little bit of river that is still running and then trickle through the stones and the leaves.
You know what was in these?
Linnea walks over and you can see the little like centaur sack like leans forwards as she inclines her head, and you're not really sure like whether to show it to the sack head or there.
I take a little bit of a step back and try to keep it as like placed in between as possible to not offend the clear centaur in front of me.
She looks at it and says no, and kind of sniffs at it. There is some flower that was in there.
Some looked like red dye came out.
That is not from us.
Well, how long has it been since anyone's been down here?
Maybe hours? But we don't really clear this. The leaves clear themselves when it rains.
Seems like someone's been down here putting stuff in this area.
Does like the rivulet area, does that come from like further up? Is there like a pipe or something?
It's not a pipe, so it's really just like as the rain hits this platform, it goes through all like the little grooves and natural inclines into tiny holes at the base of the structure that go down into the basement and then flood out and then over the side so that it doesn't hit the spire.
So we're just casually like in the basement?
It's really like where the foundation connects to the ground. It's not like a basement, not designed to be a basement.
It's like if we're in the bottom of the funnel of a giant drain pipe that has a couple layers of filter.
Yeah,
and
you're
we're
in like the filter.
bottom filter
Yeah.
part. Yeah,
That's a good way of looking at it.
that's how I.
It is a biological filter, so
Yeah.
like really that's what it's working
That's
at to
sort of how I
refresh
was
the
picturing it, yeah.
freshwater pond that's out in front.
Cool.
So we're not like, this isn't coming from like further upstream or anything like that. It's just kind of placed here.
No, so this is like rainwater.
Okay.
The bags, though, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the bags.
The
yeah.
bags seem to have been like deliberately placed in this area. They probably could
These little the little holes in the structure, like this
They
big,
couldn't
really
have-
small.
yeah.
Certainly, yeah. They can't have washed down here accidentally.
Well,
Do you mind if we take one, if not all of these?
No, please. This is concerning.
I would keep watch and see if anyone else comes back through here.
Can Billy like see how concerning it is on the horse's
Yeah,
face?
make an insight check at disadvantage.
Yes. Very much a disadvantage.
You just see unblinking, drawn-on, smiling face.
Just, you know, the universe wants me to roll a 2 because I rolled 2 2s.
Oh, we're doing bad.
Linnea gives you a side eye, and you really can't tell.
The marble.
And so it says, well, we do have access to a potential expert in this illness who might be able to give us some more insight.
Well, please, if they can help clear our name, the Conclave would be indebted.
Out of curiosity, and again, please pardon my bluntness, would you know of anything that may cause someone to want to cause this disease?
She looks at you and she says, no. Who would want to cause a disease?
Well,
I think what
in
my friend means any adversaries who would like to see you removed.
Many.
Anyone in particular who would have access to something like this.
I don't know what this is. If you have an expert and you can find out what this is, maybe we can narrow it down.
Inspecting the bags, I'm gonna grab all of them now
Yeah.
at this point.
There's 3.
I'm gonna like see. Is there any residue left over of what was in there from that I saw the red dripping out of that we can bring back?
Yeah, in the bag. So as you like go through, caked into the canvas, there are like little bits of this red, almost like mud, with the moisture that's tracked through.
It's not similar to the dire croak stuff. Is
No,
it?
not at all.
Do I see Ori like touching the red stuff?
I'm not touching it.
Okay.
I'm opening the bags and like inspecting the inside.
For what it's worth, these are wet canvas bags, and so like there's certainly little bits of red on your hand. It's,
yeah, probably.
yeah.
All right.
Got my gloves on.
Just so everyone knows, I'm casting a spell. It's harmless. It's not going to hurt anyone. It's probably just going to help things out here. And Billy starts playing on her pipes, and it's like going to be about a 10-minute long pipe play because it has to be ritually cast because I don't have my spell slots back. But
I would join in.
the unseen servant pops up. Unseen, but there's like displacement of rain
Sure.
around this little
And at
orb.
that point, there's like a couple otters that are down here. Like various animals will like come to this little bit of music that you're playing, and so like you see like salamanders and a couple of butterflies and like various animals have gathered. And so when you finish and the unservant pops up, there are all kinds of like little bird cries and chirps, and then the animals begin to like clear away. But no problem.
Harsh and
Billy
Billy's
the
vibe.
Disney princess.
Harsh and Billy's vibe so bad.
It's like a goth just sitting on the tree stump with all of nature.
Just like, God damn it again. And then just like kind of gestures at where the displacement is happening, so that you might want to just let that carry him.
Probably would have been better before, but all right.
No one told you to pick it up.
There you go.
I'm just curious.
These sacks float in
continues
here.
to insist on doing things that magic could do better.
Yep.
Right, so, well, some of us don't have that ability.
Well, if there's anyone you can think of who might have had access to like this area,
This is
doesn't
not a
want-
restricted place. Ever since the Ally Ride, we've tried to open this place to everyone. But as I said, people who kept animals previous to that, they would bear us ill will.
Like the people from the beast fighty thing that we know about. I forget the name of, right? Where they do the parade of beasts through.
The Ally Ride is the prismatic conclave celebration of freeing the animals from us, yes.
But the people who were against that.
Yes.
Billy just gives another bow and says, "Thank you very much for your time and for humoring us."
Thank you. If it were not for you, we never would have checked here. At least not for some time.
If we find anything else out about the situation, we will let you know. If we could hope the same of you.
I will call on some assistance. There will be guards next time that you come, but you will be allowed to enter.
Thank you.
And Billy indicates the patch on her cloak and says, "We are emissaries. If anyone by the name of the Wandering Hearts comes through, they are our friends."
You can see she kind of claps twice and just goes, "Here's some group."
Yes, that's correct.
Very well. Any friend of Hearsom's is a friend of mine.
Billy's just like, "Damn it, should have said that sooner." And Billy like kind of graciously tries to like begin to make an exit because it's late and horse centaurs and he's like
It's no problem.
Also, like, very distinguished bow, thank you, getting out, and then immediately.
that was a motherfucking horse.
That's right. I thought I was going crazy for a minute.
No, that was a legit horse.
We were just talking to a horse. A very, very eloquent.
We are not going to tell anyone about this. We met the Lord Ranger. It was fine. It was normal, and nothing was wrong.
You make your way back.
Very persuasive horse, though, and I do think that she was telling the truth, for what it's worth. So,
I agree. Hey Ori, how do you feel about that horse jerky you have in your pockets now?
I got rid of it So it's fine. I got rid of that a while ago. I buried the horse. I never made it.
That was one of those items that at the very beginning of the campaign, I was like, I bet somebody's going to put this in their pockets and forget about it, and I'm going to bring it back up later when Linnea comes out.
But I didn't.
I know. Yeah.
Because I realized that it was going to go bad before I had any time to smoke the meat. So I buried it very, very
Alina,
elegant.
back at the Wincing Manticore. You work with your runes, you make different symbols, and on the ground, after only a little bit, you're able to summon your familiar, who now, very different looking. Are you doing this just downstairs?
I said I was, so I guess
no
I
problem.
am.
So, all of a sudden...
I can't lie. I do regret it, but I said that that's what I was doing, so that's what I'm doing.
all of a sudden in this space, while Crispy is like cleaning up the counter and everything, there is this like dimming of these magical lavender lanterns that glow, and in the space, like right in front of you, where you used to pedal disappearing, suddenly facing like the wrong direction, this imp just appears.
Over here. Hi.
Oh, swirls around.
The other one used to face. Okay.
Yeah, you can see just little tiny wings carrying this somewhat larger body.
Hey, so this is cool, huh?
Yeah.
Listen. So you know how you told me about getting into the box with all the information about the.
You can see he's like squinting over, and then, like you look back, and Crispy is like squinting over at him, and then Crispy goes, "She looked better before." And then the imp just kind of like looks a little bit confused and says, "Okay, what do you need?"
Mind your business. And then, so Alina is going to sum up the plan that we'd like to go back tonight because, we really want to get into that box that he told us about. And,
Oh, I really want to get into that box too.
Yeah. So.
Are we going?
Yeah, we just have to wait for my friends to get back.
Why?
And listen. They're a little suspicious because I don't think they've ever met an imp before. So they might say some things that are insensitive.
Mango's just sitting at the bar, just kind of like.
You can see the imp like turns over and just goes like blue.
Oh, Blue's fine. Don't worry about her. But
Just like the three little like clawed fingers way back to you.
look, I think it would just really help them if they, could feel like what I already know, which is that you're trustworthy. So, if you could just make sure that nothing really weird goes down.
Are your friends the people that were in the estate when you were there?
Yeah.
Which one was Rhonda?
We had code names. That was me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not proud.
No, that's not a good name at all.
It's really not.
It's a good thing you found me.
So, like, speaking of which, what do I call you?
Oh man, hang on. I gotta go pull up my notes from like 2 seconds ago.
Last session, Joe, you did tell me that his name is Rezit Malar,
That's what it is, yeah.
Lar. But that's a mouthful, so.
Call him Rez.
Rezi.
Or Zit.
There's no
Rezi
Rezi
sounds
emoji,
good.
so that's the
Yeah, no, my name is Rezit Millar, but you can just call me Rez.
Okay, cool, Rez.
Or whatever, really. I guess it doesn't really matter,
Hey, question.
Just don't call me
You've been a
the
familiar for a long time, right?
Familiar is kind of a strong word, but I mean, I've been in the service industry.
Okay. So, like, just wondering, I had this other familiar. Do you, know where she went?
Okay.
Do you guys
Your
all
friends are the insensitive ones. I mean, look, no offense. It's not like all familiars know each other. And also, if you had another imp, why did you get me?
No, she was a sprite.
Why would you have a sprite as a familiar?
I mean, like, I'm from the Feywild.
But you could have all of this, and you can see like this big like bulbous kind of like imp body and little just like flying wings.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that people that that
You can do
folks
it.
like you are really great in like combat and that you can do all sorts of cool stuff. So like I'm jazzed, don't get me wrong. I just kind of worry about what happened to my other old friend.
No, don't worry about that. Make an insight check.
Just the Hannah, like,
Looks like you're not worried.
Oh, I guess I'm not worried. 7.
Don't worry about that, because we're gonna have so much fun. Just relax. It's gonna be fine.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. So, listen, so, we'll just wait for my friends to get back, and we're all gonna play it super cool.
Okay, but about that, if your friends come, then we need to kind of like split everything with your friends. So like, maybe if we just went now.
What exactly is in this box again? Because you told me there was lots of, information in there.
No, lots.
Mm-hmm. What else is in the box?
Make a persuasion check.
This has got to be a relationship of trust, my guy.
At advantage.
Neat. Natural 20 for a total of 28. Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to get chocolate on Everest? It's really hard, okay? And living with Diatray, it had its drawbacks, but you do get a taste for the finer things, and if I can't have any chocolate, I'm gonna freak out. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's money in there too.
That's not where I thought this was going, but okay, yeah, we'll get you some chocolate. You're gonna get along great with my friend. He was super obsessed with chocolate for like 24 hours.
24 hours.
Minutes, I guess. I don't know.
Was that what the strawberry thing was about?
Yeah.
Alright.
Am I there?
I would say probably about this point, as you're like walking back through the window of the Wincing Manticore, you catch sight of like this little imp who's just like, all of this. Yeah, you definitely like walk in the door right around now.
And I'll continue just by saying, and if chocolate's what you want, then that's what you can have, and no one's gonna try to take that away from you.
Okay, you and I are gonna be really good friends.
Yeah, just gonna give him a little high five.
And to give you a little high five as well. What is it that you're trying to do anyways? Like you're here and you're trying to do something with Diatray?
Well, I mean, Diatray's a bad dude, you know that, right?
Yeah, he bought me.
Yes.
Like an object.
Well, right,
Or a tiefling.
or a Pokemon.
Not a sponsor.
So he's a bad dude, and he is looking to inflict a lot of pain on, like, everyone, and we're just trying to put a stop to it.
I mean, he's a bad dude, but I mean, I kind of understand why he's trying to inflict pain on everybody.
Say more.
I mean, have you ever loved anybody?
Oh, is this about his wife?
Yeah. That's what almost all things like this are about. It's about love.
Well, don't stop there. I mean, come on, man.
Aren't you a believer in love? It motivates things. It's a powerful force.
I mean, I definitely feel love, but it's for my patrons, so that's kind of different. But I heard that his wife died.
When Melisandre died, that broke something in Lunsander. And he was sick before, at least 2 or 3 times, and he got better, but he stopped caring. And he began to believe what people were saying about this Wake Peter flu. He went away for a while. Not even I was able to go. And when he came back, he was different. There was something ugly on him. I mean, real ugly. And after that, he started meeting with people. People would come in and out at all hours of the night, and I don't know what it is, but I kind of understand it. I mean, if you thought that you could bring justice to the people that did wrong to the people that you loved, you would do it too, right?
I mean, I guess. Wait, so who does he blame for his wife's death?
Well, the nobility of Everest, the people who enable the prismatic conclave. The centaur runs it.
Yeah, Linnea. So, yeah, I mean, wow, this is a lot of stuff to really think about. But, you know, I mean, we just don't want anyone innocent to get hurt.
You could see like this big grin, almost too wide, spreads across his face. And he says, what is innocence, really? I mean, is anybody innocent? Good, evil. That's such a complex thing to think about. You know what's better to think about? That chocolate that's in that chest. We could get that right now.
I think at this point, Minka's
Still there.
Minka's just sitting at the bar, just like holding like a cup of like juice. Like, I don't know if should I get up? Should I just sit here? And she kind of like gets up and goes upstairs to like go find Cheshire.
Okay, yeah, no problem. You go upstairs. Are you doing anything?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm just. Wait, do I know that this was the imp that you found in the bedroom? Did you share that? I don't remember.
I mean, you were around when I talked about, like, I met his familiar. And
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a
Dietitian's
lead
familiar?
thing. Are you? This is you asking me. Well, he's my familiar now.
Oh, could I ask him some questions?
I mean, I'm right here, so you could definitely ask me some questions.
His
What's your
name's
name?
Raz.
Oh, Rez.
Rez,
Valis. Nice to meet you.
is it okay if I respond to that?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, nice to meet you too.
Well,
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
you don't need my permission to talk to people. It's not how I
for
operate,
other things.
man.
How did Sunder's wife died? I heard you mentioning that
Yeah, she got sick. Same thing that he had.
from the Wake Peter flu.
Yeah, but she was one of those that just couldn't get better for some reason. Hey, it's weird. Something about her.
Try a greater restoration. I heard that was known to fix the Wake Peter flu.
And it did the first time that she had it, the second time that she had it. But right around the time that he went away, something changed about her too. And after that, it didn't work. And they tried many times. But there was always something kind of strange about that trip.
What do people say about the Wake Peter flu? You mentioned that, and what I don't know what my character knows.
Your character knows, well, very little, but your character has a rough idea that the prism flu is something that makes people very sick. It produces this like glowing, almost illumination that is really the, well, I guess probably medicine hasn't advanced that far. The good juice that's inside the bodies of these people is becoming bad juice, and that sparkles.
Got it.
And that is at the crux of what is happening.
I see. Truly, juice.
We need to get all of the black bile out of the
Heads.
body and replace it
Love juice.
with
Vincent?
phlegm.
Yeah, we got
Rez,
4
I've heard-
humors.
What do you know about the fracturing that Linsunder?
That's that group of people. The fracturing, they call it themselves. Yeah, no, it's like a whole group of people, and they got like designs on doing stuff. Again, I would assume typically when people have a name like that, it's not because they're like going to be in like a, I don't know, like a talent show or something.
Do you know how many people were in that group or who they were? Do you remember meeting any of them?
There was at least 3 or 4, but no, I never got to meet any. I kind of got stuck in the upper floors, but they would meet sometime in the Silk Parlor, and I could kind of overhear things. I do know that they meet in UHEX sometimes.
What is UHEX?
It's a city.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Do you know where they meet in UHEX or just that they meet?
just that they meet in UHEX, and really that's only because I overheard somebody talking about the Covens, and that's kind of their political system over there. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rez.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Rez. What's your feeling on if you're in combat and you die and then need to get like resummoned later?
Yeah, sucks to suck, I guess.
I do like that sometimes.
Okay, so it wouldn't like like bother you if it happened like a bunch of times?
I mean, I prefer for it not to happen, but...
Yeah, but if it happened like by accident,
Oh, yeah.
you wouldn't
accidents
be like
happen.
super surly about it or like blame the person that you were fighting with or anything like that.
No, accidents happen, absolutely. And just because it's, a two-way street, if accidentally we were to end up in hell, like, accidents happen, right? And so, like, I just need you to be understanding about that because we just have a way of kind of like imps of gravitating in that direction. So, hey, that box, you should probably go get that.
Okay. I mean, Hannah's convinced. Okay, hold on a second. And she's just gonna kind of like look around. There's Minka, there's Valis, and then she's gonna be like, okay, if there's a lot of like stuff in this box, we're gonna need help carrying it back.
Why don't we just wait until the morning? Oh, you're not talking to me. You're not talking to us. You're talking to them.
Yeah. And she can't communicate with him telepathically. And I feel like maybe she's in the habit of doing that. I don't know. Let's walk it back. So you were here when we were saying like, oh, if we go tonight. When I was saying if we go tonight, then we'll be
No, they were away. Getting a shield.
So I'm just gonna be like, no, we need to get the upper hand on Hirsim. If we go back tonight before he can get in there, then maybe we'll learn something that he's keeping from us.
You seem rather distrustful of your employer.
Yeah, well, he's said some things tonight that make me a little confused.
Oh. I'm sure he has his reasons.
How long?
Yes.
You guys can arrive whenever you want, but 1 second. So you go upstairs to get Cheshire.
So I go to the Cheshire's room and just kind of knock on the doors, but hey, Cheshire.
No answer.
Are you doing okay in there?
No answer.
We might be going back to the mansion tonight.
No answer.
Oh no.
She's just gonna see the doors like open. Was it locked?
Cheshire would have locked it if she
Yeah.
had the ability.
Yeah, it's locked.
Okay, well, I figured to let you know that in like, I guess, 20-ish minutes from now or something like that, we're heading back to the mansion to go peruse. I know you like perusing, but if you're interested, you're welcome to join us.
No answer.
Okay, bye.
She's gonna go back downstairs.
You hear just the creak of footsteps as they retreat. What is Cheshire doing in the room?
So initially, upon going upstairs, Cheshire would have locked the door and pouted for about a minute or two.
Okay. Class feature.
Class feature.
Reaction power.
Free action. Free action. And then thinking about it, would begin to start concentrating to see if she can see any more of these strings.
Okay. Concentrating on it. As you concentrate, the sky begins to grow a little bit darker, the same way that it did when you put on that lens. Give me 1 second.
Centaur. Centaur with integrity. A noble and valiant being.
As they're like at the door, I think Billy and Ori are like trying to get their story straight. Like, we spoke to a centaur. It's a centaur.
Honestly, she was so trustworthy. I kind of believe she's really a centaur. It's like maybe the horse part was the illusion. She was so she
Cheshire.
knows she's a centaur.
In this room, as it grows dark, you can kind of look and you pout and you think about what's happening. And as you do, you remember that you had seen this connection. First, you had seen it to Ori's staff. Then you had seen it to many more things. At one point, you'd seen one to Minka, and it had led you to that book. And that book was important, especially because somebody took it away from you. Nobody takes not important things away. So you concentrate, trying to think about what that might be, and as you open your eyes and the room is dulled, you can see from your chest this little ribbon just appear, as if it's always been there and is just uncovering and unraveling itself to your vision. It goes out and seems to spread out through the door, and then one by one you see more and more of these appear. And one of them does look a little bit more pink, and you can see that snakes out and through the door, and then you hear knock, knock, knock. And that line stops. And Minka talks, knock, 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 and then you hear goes down the stairs, and that ribbon begins to move again. And that seems to be connected to Minka. Something about Minka is different. Almost certainly. What are you doing?
Immediately exiting
Okay.
and like marching with purpose after Minka.
Okay. So Minka, you're like, oh, beans. And then all of a sudden you hear slam, 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 slam. And Cheshire storms down after you.
Is there anything obviously different about Minka? Is it going to anything in particular about her? Like, what is
Angry Cheshire stops right on the landing and looks out, and this ribbon connects to Minka.
like willing to get up close and like
Oh,
Okay.
oh, hello.
You go and it connects straight from your heart to Minka's heart, and then looking at Minka, you see a similar one just go out of her back, under the chair, and up and into Alina's back. And then out of Alina's chest and out the window. And then through the door walks Billy, and you see that same line connect to Billy, and through Billy's back it connects to a very flustered looking Ori. And all of you connected through this single strand, and then right back to normal.
Oh, as I was saying, we're gonna go back to the mansion probably tonight, if it's not like super on fire. And we're gonna look at stuff, so maybe we can look to see if there's more things we can grab. If you'd like to come.
Are we concerned about? I believe that Hirsum said that he was going to secure the mansion tonight.
Mm-hmm.
What's our
We're gonna help secure it.
At the very least, we're gonna go see how burned down it is, so we can make better informed decisions about what we do tomorrow. Because if it's like really burnt, then we don't really have to do much. But if it's still pretty okay, we might have like some more to like prepare, you know? Maybe we'll need like a robe.
So should we just go and burn this place down?
No.
Oh,
This is your.
his name's Rez. Remember I told you about my friend?
He looks at you and just goes, what? Do I have something on my face?
And Alina's like,
Alina, do I have anything on my face?
no, you look awesome, obviously.
I mean, I
This is
know, but do I have
Ori.
anything on my face?
Does he have anything on his face?
No.
No, you're awesome. You're fine. Remember that I told you that my friends had never met an imp before?
Oh, this guy.
It's just generally.
Hey, this guy. My name's Rez.
That's Ori, and that's Billy, and Cheshire's down here by now too, right?
Yeah.
And that's Cheshire. And so Rez
Hi,
is
Minka. Nice to
going
meet you, Rez.
Yeah, no, you met.
us.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I actually said my name or not.
Okay, Rez and I are a team, just like me and Petal were.
Hey.
Right, so, speaking of, where is Petal right now?
Don't worry about it.
Why? Why is everybody looking at me?
That was a very disconcerting.
That is very hurtful to say that. Why would I eat pet?
Here for deceit. What the fuck is this guy?
You go,
taking his tongue into a
make an
hole.
insight check. You say, you have the teeth. And he spreads his lips out. They're like dagger teeth. And he goes, yeah, so what? You got teeth.
I've eaten things.
Me too. But not a petal.
It was 12.
12. So you like kind of get real close to him trying to listen. And then he gets really close to you. And then, hey, do you have chocolate? I'm like, you're not like a tattoo. Where is it? It's dark. That's Loon Sunder's chocolate.
Maybe.
It is. I know that.
What's it to you?
I don't like you.
Well, I guess you don't like chocolate much then either.
Oh,
I'm gonna take one of the boxes out and pop a piece of it right in front of him.
Go ahead and make a athletics check.
This is glorious. Chocolate loving imp.
Can it be acrobatics?
No.
Well,
Unfortunately, he snaps it out of the air as you like toss it up into the air and grabs it. And you said literally toss it.
no, I
up.
said I took it out and I popped it in my mouth.
You said pop.
It's on camera. So he grabs this out of the air, grabs it like right from between your fingers and just straight into his mouth, straight through the teeth. It just goes all over him. Gets about half of it in, and he just... that really hit the spot. Okay, we don't need to go tonight. I mean, we could wait until tomorrow.
He's trying to get you to get us more chocolate.
I mean, he already
I
told me
literally
that.
said that to
Yeah.
her.
Well,
Why would I lie to my partner?
Okay, Ori. Remember how you were really focused on getting the chocolate-covered strawberries, and
You
I
mean
was...
when I was magically charmed by a
Yeah.
beautiful woman?
Mhm, and remember how
that what went
focused you were.
Oh.
And remember how. Okay, so remember that. This is just. He just loves chocolate and he just wants it. You know
What beautiful woman?
what?
Yeah, if I may interject, I think Lena described the woman earlier that you were involved with. I'm pretty sure that
Involved with.
that she is undead, and I saw her fly away as a bat,
That's
Entirely
woman.
probable.
matching the description. I'm sorry, I don't know if it was her. A woman matching the description.
did
That
she
Lena
say?
said.
Did she tell you her name?
It was during combat. I may have sensed her.
Hello,
My
hi, my name's
fine
Phyllis.
senses,
Hi, how are you?
and then when she realized that she was found, she quickly went away
Well,
as a bat.
if it was a bat, then it wasn't a beautiful woman. So I think.
I'm sorry,
you got
I think
them
I'm relaying the order
mixed up.
of
This imp goes and just lands on your shoulder. Minka, kind of heavy is this imp. But
Really, like, insight check Ori just for, like,
Yeah, go for it.
experience?
the imp jerks one of their 3 fingers over at Ori and just goes, "What's this guy's deal? Can you trust him?"
Glass house, I think.
I don't know. It sounds like he's got a theme song. It's not a positive.
You know, he's not the only one with a theme song.
Why is this
But he is very good. He's a good friend, and he is very talented at spitting fire. It's actually pretty impressive.
So Ori, I got a 24?
He turns and looks and he says, "I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he has a magical bone in his body."
What are you
They say
trying to
he's the most
glean?
magical among us.
Sorry, fuck. Ori's giving some, like, real, like, pathetic vibes here.
Ori Fox. Ori is not trying to find more about Paisley because he wants to fuck. It's because he doesn't like the fact that this random stranger has taken advantage of him
Okay.
and is trying to figure out what her motive is to try and do all of this shit that she's done that is probably somehow intertwined with what Diatre is doing.
Vincent?
So now I'm
Yes.
thinking about this. Something that's undead can go invisible, turn to a bat. Do I know what that is?
Make a history check.
All right.
We're all making a lot of assumptions
18.
here.
An 18? You sure do. That sounds an awful lot like a vampire.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was clear, but I believe you might have been. And do I know that vampires can charm people?
You've heard that they're incredibly charismatic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I think the woman that you're asking about is a vampire.
All right. So that doesn't really change anything.
I think with all of this combined, Billy has a little bit more empathy for Ori.
Okay.
Well-
Do you know this vampire woman, or did you just happen to catch her on the way out?
I caught her on the way out.
It's pretty weird for vampires to be this
Do
far
you know
west.
anyone? You said you knew. I've got some more chocolate. You tell me what you know. Who's this woman?
Where's the chocolate?
I'll show you the chocolate. You can smell it. I know you can smell it.
Yeah.
I'll show you when you tell me.
All right. So, way east is the Sunrest Islands. You've heard of them?
Yeah.
So, from what I've heard from some of the visitors who have come to Lunsunder and who sail in that general direction, there is a noticeable uptick in vampire activity.
All right. So you're saying that this beautiful vampire woman who was at your former master's party.
Well, can I have the chocolate?
Take out one more piece and throw it to him.
Just like rips through it and just goes, oh man.
You know,
That's
I've got
so
a limited
good.
supply of that, so you should maybe try to, wean yourself a bit.
You have something on your face now, Red. It's chocolate.
No, there's no chocolate on my face. I wouldn't waste chocolate.
Does he have chocolate on his face?
No.
Oh.
Not tease
Licked clean.
Stop.
Yeah, like literally lick clean, like little bits of drool coming down, like nothing to waste here.
Like when animals do that, tongue all
Yeah,
around the face.
exactly.
So,
Does he lick his eyeball?
No.
another piece of chocolate for another piece of information. You said that there have been people from the Sunrest Isles coming.
Yeah.
Do you know what Diatre's interactions with them were? Not with the vampires themselves, right? Because it seems like if what you're saying is true, and what I've experienced is true, there was a vampire at Diatre's party.
Yeah, maybe.
Did you interact with this vampire? I'm starting to get you're asking a lot of questions about the vampire. What happened between you two at the party?
Are you a vampire?
Nothing happened! Nothing happened.
Okay.
He flies back over to you, Minka, he lands on your shoulder, and he just goes, is he a vampire?
No. He just got his heart broken.
It's not that either.
Lands back on your shoulder, Alina.
Alright, take your chocolate. One more piece.
Just rips through it, no problem.
Are we going to make
I think we should go tonight. Listen, hey, Rez,
Yeah.
are you fireproof?
Relatively speaking, yeah.
Nice. Because the house is on fire. I need you.
Oh.
Bartender, can I borrow a bucket?
No longer here is the bartender. He went downstairs, but
Is there
yeah, there's a bucket around.
Oh, you need Christmas?
Yeah. Up the stairs. You need a bucket. Runs downstairs. Runs back up and just gives you a bucket. You have 2 buckets.
Oh, 2 buckets.
Billy
That's why they
and
call me Two
I
Buckets.
had, before we go do whatever we're trying to do with your
Oh yeah, how was your walk?
friend, we had quite a wonderful stroll.
I think by now, the unseen servant is worn off, and it's just sacks on the
Yeah.
floor.
Well, we happened along to the Prismatic Conclave, and
Rez sniffs at the sack as it onto the floor, and he goes, ugh.
would you
Care to
happen
expand
know,
on that?
Where are those sacks from?
It just smells like flowers.
You know what kind of
Flowers?
flowers?
I don't know, they're all gross. I don't like flowers.
Does anyone?
Like baking flour or
I was
plant
gonna
flowers.
ask you.
Like plant flowers, like the smelly, brightly colored ones that people are obsessed with for no reason. They're a symbol of love. They just die.
Like roses?
Yeah, I think that's a flower.
You are an expert formerly on Wake Peter Flu.
yeah, if you take out the missing memories, then I am the foremost expert
Do you think?
on Wake Peter Flu,
I'm sorry,
as I
what?
mentioned. Oh, I think we were getting to that. I was framed
Yeah, you missed a lot.
in the awesome law.
Framed
20
banned from the
minutes.
Ocenlock, they took
It was
some
a
of his
really
memories
busy
because they
20
thought that he
minutes.
stole information about Wake Peter Flu from them.
I promised a very important centaur that we had an expert who could help us.
Lord Ranger Rockrun?
Yes.
She is not a
ver-
centaur.
Yes, she is a very noble and righteous centaur.
Insight
Do I
check.
know her?
When you met her, she was a horse, but she was with a band of centaurs, and certainly everybody there treated her as a centaur. I think you were young enough that wouldn't have probably registered, but now that Ori says it, you're like, wait a second.
You guys, I think she's just a literal horse.
That's not, no. Just, she is a centaur of very strong integrity, who is trustworthy and noble and kind.
Okay, but I met her when I was a kid, and
We just met her 5 minutes ago, and she is a very noble and integrity-filled centaur.
Okay, buddy.
I rolled a 9 in my insight check on Ori,
Yeah.
so I'm just very convinced that she is in fact a centaur.
Yeah.
She's a centaur.
Are those sacks from the prismatic conclave?
This is so. There was something in the sacks that they didn't know about that someone had put down underneath in the lower levels of the prismatic conclave, and we were kind of hoping that you would know what this was because they didn't know, and it seemed like someone put it there and maybe trying to frame the prismatic conclave for Wake Peter Flu. Similar to how you have been framed, supposedly,
That is
by
serious.
Diatre. Not saying
Can I
that I
take a
don't
look at
believe
what's
you,
in
but
those?
it has not been substantiated, although
I'm gonna
most
walk
of the
over
evidence does
and start just
show.
opening.
Yeah. You open it up, and it's just a canvas sack,
Hold
wet,
on.
red kind of mush at the bottom.
Yeah.
Billy?
Billy's like got the string out.
It's Pepe Sylvia.
So
That comes up every campaign at least once.
The Pepe Sylvia?
Yeah.
String.
First, I'm gonna
So-
cast. Sorry, go ahead.
someone's trying to frame you. Or
Someone has framed me. I've been banned from the
successfully framed. Semantics. And someone's attempting to frame the prismatic conclave for Wake Peter Flu. You were framed because of Wake Peter Flu. Perhaps you got too close to knowing the answer. Perhaps you found the source, because that seems to be the trouble, is who caused Wake Peter Flu. And then they took your memories because you knew too much and it was easy, and someone with access to the prismatic conclave who people would overlook is probably someone at the Oslog. Oh my god, they're inside the spire.
Wait. But wasn't Diatre going after the people because of the flu
Who's framed
who
you.
framed you, but he was trying to persecute those who...
maybe Diatre is being framed for framing you.
Well, if Diatre wants to go
If I
after...
could just have a moment to look at what's inside these bags.
What are you casting?
I'm gonna cast Detect Magic, and then with that, and also inspect it.
Make a perception check.
I haven't been very good with checks
Whoever's behind it
Along those
is
lines,
playing
does Minka
everyone.
have anything different in her pockets?
Make a sleight of hand check.
Oh, speaking of which, Minka, I found this and just hands over the piece of granite.
Okay. It's a nice little piece of granite. Definitely heavier and like a reddish material, and so like a nice brick color.
8.
8. As you look around, first of all, nothing in the sacks are magical. When you look around and your shield, magical. Yeah, very cool. But aside from that, not a whole lot. Yeah.
Can I look at? Oh, sorry.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You through Minka's pockets. Like you pulled Minka around to like talk to Minka, and so easy for you to do.
See, I don't have very much.
There's not a lot different from what you have previously seen. In fact, I think there's only 2 things that are different, and one of them is, I think, rope.
So,
Investigating more just to see if there's anything associated with the connection I'm seeing.
It's gone.
Or was seeing.
But no, nothing that seems to connect. You look at each person that connected to, and you don't see any like real physical connections.
Stop looking at me.
Can I do it just some? Sorry, go ahead.
Can I look at the mushy flower stuff too, just through the lens of like survival, nature, something like that?
Yeah, which one?
I don't know. Nature.
Yeah, go for it. There are 2 different possible results there.
Let me see which one is.
Um,
Oh no, can I do nature?
yeah.
15.
With a 15, as you look down, you have seen something sort of like this. There are flowers that are used to create sort of like, what are they called? Tinctures that can be applied to multiple different things. And this looks kind of similar to what's left over when one of those is made. But with a 15, this is something that you're not familiar with, not something that grows around Thornholm or anywhere around the travels that you've been so far.
Given my knowledge, and now knowing that it is probably from a flower and a red flower, does this ring any bells to me?
It sure does.
Nature-related things.
It does.
That's not good for me. Can I, knowing what I know, pinpoint the origin of what is likely to be or had been?
You know the region.
I think I know where this came from.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's good.
well, what? Well, is it? It looks like mushed flowers. Is it mushed flowers?
Yes, more or less. Right. Do I know specifically what the flower would have been?
Yeah. This flower. In the part of the magiocracy of the Rising Storm that you are most familiar with, there is a species of chrysanthemum that grows rich and red in the fields. And in part of the magiocracy of the Rising Storm, there is a place where, despite the fact that there are seasons where these do not grow on the ground, they are always falling from the sky. These remind you of those.
To be clear, not my tower, different tower?
Your tower.
My tower. Okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah. It's probably gonna be a little more west from where we are.
How west?
The Magiocracy West.
Oh, what do you know?
I just know.
Ori did it!
I'm from that area.
We found the culprit!
Well, do you know about the chrysanthemum?
Shall I go get the guard?
Have you ever heard of these chrysanthemums?
Make a nature check.
Don't you want to stay and watch him squirm?
No, I'd rather watch him suffer at the hands of the guard.
Okay, well maybe we can be a little more sensitive.
A 19?
With a 19, there was somebody who passed through from the southern part of the magiocracy of the Rising Storm,
Specifically.
who is named
He looks fine.
Leishta. And Leishta is somebody who gathered different plants as they went. They were a furball. And one of the things that they brought from the south was chrysanthemums. And dried as they were, they could be applied to different things. There are people who believe that this is something that you could use to imbue magic into stuff, in fact. Like the chrysanthemums themselves seem to have an innate magical property that might be harnessed to empower things that are otherwise mundane.
Oh,
But she mostly used them for perfume. She had no real knowledge of how to do that. And so hard to tell if that's true or like, so do you want to buy this? Kind of like a sell.
well, I mean, yes, but it's kind okay. So, a furball. She was super nice. Leishta, she would come by sometimes. She came by once to sell dried flowers for perfume. They're really pretty, nice red color. But she did say that,
There's
that
more
it could.
uses than just for perfume.
Would it happen to be along the lines of imbuing great magics into things that aren't normally magical?
Potentially.
Okay, so she wasn't lying. Oh, wow. I was gonna buy them for my mom, too.
Does it seem like it's just chrysanthemum in these bags?
It's like mush. And with your previous check, it like literally just red organic mush. Could be anything.
Ori,
Could I?
what does this mean?
This is probably at least partially the cause of the Wake Peter flu. I don't know much more than that, but
He's
I can tell
lying.
you. I can tell you where these came from.
See?
It's
West, you mean?
Is there a map anywhere
more
in this room?
specifically, this
Like on the
No,
walls?
not in this room.
Tower of Crimson Mage. Oh,
Is there an alchemist nearby?
oh.
There is, but because it's 10 o'clock, this is where we're going to end for this evening. And perhaps next week we'll figure out what the Tower of the Crimson Mage is. But thank you guys for hanging out with us for this session of Adventures in Oberon Courts of Everest. We'll be back next week, but if you can't wait that long, we'll be back on Thursday with another session of Mosaic Team 5, our original Starfinder campaign. But whatever you do, please stay safe. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.